right, let's do it. Welcome to Beers with Nigel. It's a podcast about beer and other things, other stuff. Nick is in the house.
Always.
Hello, Nick. How you doing since the last time?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
What are you drinking tonight?
What are we drinking? You poured me something. What are we drinking
Well,
tonight?
let's introduce our guest. We've got
All right,
Nolan Brown from
There he is.
the soon-to-be open Transparent Brewing in Graintown. Let's call it Grandview.
Can we just rename every suburb of Kansas City?
I was saying I can get with the mayor. Maybe we can change it to Graintown instead of Grandview.
That could be your beer festival name.
There you go. Yeah,
There we go.
Graintown.
There we go. All right.
I love it.
So Nolan's in the house, and he brought us. What is this, Nolan?
So this is called Son of Juice. It's by Maplewood Brewing Company. They've been kind of one of my favorites lately. I just found them 3 or 4 months ago. I think their distribution just finally hit.
Aren't
the
they in
Kansas
St.
City
Louis?
area. No, they're in Chicago.
Oh, Maplewood.
Yeah,
It
so-
seemed like St. Louis.
Yeah, it
did feel like it.
that's where Schlafly is in St. Louis.
Gotcha.
They're in Maplewood. But I just found these guys. They've got Juice Pants, Son of Juice. They've got oatmeal
Juice
stout.
Pants, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're really, really solid. It's
Juice Pants may be my favorite name. I've never had the beer, but that's just a funny name.
Right.
I'm sure there's other names that are going to be your favorite name on this damn show. We'll go with Juice
All right,
Pants for now.
3 episodes in, I'm going to say Juice Pants is at the top of the list.
Okay, well-
So goal setting for everyone else.
Is this 3? It is 3, isn't it?
This is the third
this is
episode.
episode 3. So you're the second guest.
Oh, awesome.
You followed the Alana Broyles. Hey, Alana, by the time this comes out, hopefully her jaw will be fixed.
I hope she's okay.
She took a spill.
It looked like on Facebook today she was doing a lot better.
Yeah.
She was up and, moving around and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah, you got to be careful on those scooters, man.
Beware of the scooters.
yeah.
So I've known Nolan for, gosh, it seems like about 3 years now.
Yeah, coming up on 3 years.
Yeah, and as long as I've known him, he's been talking about opening a brewery. very beer savvy, very educated in the beer game. And I was like, I got to get him on here. And so when I hit him up, I was like, yo, you want to come do this? He's like, absolutely. I thought it was perfect timing because when's the brewery going to be open?
So we're still kind of in limbo with the weather that we're having right now. It keeps delaying construction and stuff. So we're really shooting for middle of May. Realistically, it might be beginning of June. But, we're a few months out. We're not too far away from it. So
I would imagine, I think about people opening any kind of food or beverage facility, bar, restaurant, seems daunting to me. But then to throw in, you're also going to brew beer, just seems crazy to me.
Well,
I mean, look, I'm lazy by nature. That just seems like a lot of hard work.
Right. The brewing beer side is, that's the least daunting to me. I think being a new business owner, that's what
Yeah.
scares the
Except
hell
you
out
have to
of
do
me
math.
at this point. So what's that?
You have to do math.
Yeah. I'm a bio major chemistry minor, man. That's right up the alley of where
guys
I
are all
study.
nerds.
and
That's what
stuff.
he
So-
said.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. 100% complete nerds. That's not a lie right there.
so on that note, tell us how you got into the beer game.
Yeah, so, like I said, I was a bio major chemistry minor, was pre-med through all of college, and took my MCATs and just went, nah, screw that, I'm done. At that point, I'd been homebrewing for about a year or two and really enjoyed it, so decided that was kind of the route that I wanted to go, which, having the conversation with your parents that you don't want to be a doctor anymore and you want to brew beer for a living, it does not go across very well, I can tell you that.
Yeah. How did that go?
It wasn't that great to start. It took them a couple of weeks to come around. But when they came around, they talked to me and they're like, all right, go, establish yourself in the industry and, maybe we can talk about something in a few years. So that's exactly what I did. So I went out, got an internship at 6 Row Brewing Company in St. Louis. Unfortunately, they've since gone out of business, but, did 1 day a week there and worked drywall to make ends meet while I was there. And that kind of got me the first job that I had at Fossil Cove Brewing Company down in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Great brewery.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. They're killing it down there right now. And they just had Frost Fest a couple of weekends ago, which is their winter beer festival, which kudos to anybody that went out because I know it was cold this year when they were.
You would love that,
doing
Nick.
that,
A beer festival that's outside in the winter.
Well, I'm just going to say this, too. Always Arkansas greater than St. Louis.
In what respects?
All of them.
He's got
all of them.
He's got disdain for St. Louis, apparently.
Well, you kind of got me caught in a tight space here because I worked at Schlafly in St. Louis for a little while as well. So, coming from Kansas City, I think I'd have to agree with you, though. I'm a big outdoorsy person, so getting outside out there is pretty awesome down in Arkansas.
And I will admit to a lot of that is simply based on St. Louis Cardinal fans.
Okay, fair enough.
There's the bias right there. Right?
And Busch sucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
The beer
yeah,
or the stadium?
both. No, actually, the stadium's not. The stadium's not. It's just stale to me.
Yeah.
Like they had this opportunity to build a fantastic downtown stadium,
Right.
and it's just stale to me. They missed. They swung and missed. I'll keep it baseball cliche.
That's terrible. So anyway, after Fossil Cove, where'd you go after that?
Yeah, so I was with them for about a year and learned a lot. They've got great people. And from there, so I went to Schlafly after that. Moved kind of to, a little bit bigger, intentionally did it, wanted to see the regional side versus a microbrewery level. And spent about a year with them working in the cellar. And, at that point, I was like, all right, it's time to see the national brand. So after working with Schlafly for a little while, I went to Oscar Blues. They had, a few years prior, opened their major East Coast production facility in North Carolina, just south of Asheville, and, went and brewed for them. So it was kind of a step up for me. I wanted to get back on the brewing side, but at the same time wanted to see a little bit larger scale, which, those guys, at that point in time, that was right when they were acquiring Cigar City. So they were really ramping up, trying to push High Lie out and all that stuff.
Right.
And the year that I was there, we were slated for like 197,000 barrels that year. Yeah, it was huge. And it was crazy too, because like half to 2/3 of what we were brewing was High Lie too. So they were really trying to push that beer out.
Right.
So I know High Lie very intimately. I can tell you that much.
Their story, though, is really good. I mean, how they grew into what they are is.
Who's that? Oscar Blues?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's national, worldwide known brand. And the guy that runs it, just kind of a different cat. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's just really cool to see them go from the micro to the giant.
And speaking of that, you're a home brewer. I've had your beers. You make some really good beers. You worked at a big boy,
right?
But you're a home brewer.
Yes.
What did you obviously you have some ideas about what you want to brew.
Yeah.
But you also learned some things at the same time. Now you're opening up your own place. What have you taken to merge all those things together? What are some of your, if you will, your core beer values, if you will?
Yeah, the time that I spent in the industry definitely developed, my style and my personal taste and everything. For me, I do tend towards drier beers. So the majority of what you're not going to see a lot of really high finishing gravity, super sweet beers in what I brew.
Right.
But as well, just kind of with the industry as a whole, I've had a major beef with where it's trended to. It's all high ABVs, overly hopped, beers right now. And I got really tired of going to a bar, 7%, 7 of them were over, 7, 8, 9%.
Right.
And you can have 1 or 2 beers. And then all of a sudden you're like, well,
right.
I got to drive home. So I'm done drinking now,
Right.
So, we're really going to focus on lower ABV beers, probably about 80 to 90% of what we brew will be under 7% alcohol. And just, true to style, subtle flavors,
right.
Really little twists here or there, but it's going to be pretty straightforward brews when it comes down to it.
So we were talking about you earlier today. I gave him a little fact sheet.
Okay.
And, one of the words I threw out to him, he was like, what the hell is that? And I said, session beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that means.
So just for you, Nick, because we do a beer term of the week.
Okay.
I'm going to give this to Nick. He can read. See, we're educating him.
So there was math
absolutely.
and now reading.
You can read. It's fine.
We can go into history if you want to go into history too.
Yeah, I like that. That's
Okay,
there we
fair
go.
enough.
There we go.
Where is it? Okay.
Oh man, you did not come prepared.
I did. I screenshotted just for you. Screenshotted it.
We need to
There you
add.
go.
We need to add a giant monitor in
read
here
that
with the dictionary.
Well, I brought my readers this time because half the time I can't read the shit. So
We are men of a certain age.
yes.
All right, session beer. Noun, informal. A beer that has a relatively low alcohol content and is therefore suitable for drinking over an extended period. A session beer with just 4% alcohol by volume.
And as long as I've known Nolan, that has been his thing. You can come in and have 4 or 5 beers and be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not have to come in and get, an 11% and be like, okay, that's all I can do.
Right.
Well,
Absolutely. I mean, just looking at it from a business standpoint, it makes sense, right?
Right.
I'd rather have people come in, stay for an hour or two, have 4 or 5,
Right.
Rather than just having 1 or 2 and then, finding the way home. So definitely looking forward to that and kind of trying to set the place up to create an environment where you can come and hang out. So, We're actually going to have an outdoor space,
Right.
have cornhole, bocce ball, putting a dog park in as well. So we will be dog friendly. So really wanting to develop a place that people can spend an afternoon.
Right.
And, you know, being in Grandview, we are a little ways away from some of the major cities, you know, from Kansas City, Lee Summit, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, you won't have to come out and then bounce back in an hour. You can come out and stay for
Right.
a while.
It was funny when you did the groundbreaking, and it was a bunch of people that showed up to the groundbreaking. It was crazy. That mayor of Grandview was so happy to have a brewery coming to Grandview. He was ecstatic. He's like, it's about damn time we got a brewery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody else got a brewery. Where's our brewery? It was kind of cool to see that. Talk about, you know, it's a family affair. What your mom's going to do, because I think that's super cool as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, to comment on Mayor Jones, so Leonard Jones, he's the mayor of Grandview.
Shout out to Mayor Jones.
Yeah, he's kind of the whole reason that we chose Grandview in the first place and that this project got rolling, because he emphatically said he wanted one there, and through some contacts, it got to my parents, and so we kind of moved our timeline forward in order to satisfy the need and the want in,
Right.
in the Grandview area. But so yeah, it partnered with Transparent Brewing Company. There's going to be a restaurant. It's called the Chive Simply Good. My mom will be running that side of it, and she's trying to do, you know, farm to table, but she wants to do it to more of an extreme level than what you've seen kind of in the Kansas City area.
Right.
You know, most farm to table restaurants, I think, are like 10 to 15% locally sourced, and that's really it. They just kind of are able to say that because they have some products that are locally sourced. So I know she, at any given point throughout the year, is looking to be 75 to 95% locally sourced, depending on the season, depending on what's available. So it's definitely going to be supporting a lot of other businesses in the Kansas City area, and just some really healthy, good food too. So
Right.
it'll be kind of a cafe market feel. So a lot of soups and sandwiches. And she wants to have a market available so you can come in, you can grab, you know, a pre-made sandwich, pre-made soup to run out the door,
Right.
or you can hang out and, you know, chill for a while and have a beer while you're there. So it's going to be a really, really cool concept. And I, you know, growing up, she's cooked for me since I was a kid, obviously, and her cooking has developed greatly in the last 10, 15 years.
Because she went where, overseas this past year? Didn't you went to a rest? You went to some restaurant somewhere for like a couple.
To work, or
Remember, wasn't it? Didn't she go to somebody's restaurant last summer?
yeah, I mean, she's done a few. So
Yeah.
she went to one, and I can't think of the name now, out in Asheville, North Carolina, and did like an apprenticeship for a week or something. She's gone out to one in California as well. And then her and my dad, I mean, they travel all the time. So she's gone to, what is it? Girl and Three Goats in Chicago, and I mean, they anytime they travel somewhere, they're looking for a nice restaurant and really wanting to experience and explore and, you know, all that stuff. So
I'm looking forward to what they're going to do on that side of it, because it's been the last couple of years they've been doing these tastings of the food at their house and inviting people who have never been and doing these small plates, and she's been testing
I
different.
gotta make more friends like you.
The funny thing about it was I went a couple of times. She's like, you can't come anymore. You got to send people. So I would send people, but it was just so phenomenal. I mean, and then Nolan would bring his beers out and pair it with the food, and it was pretty unique. Last Saturday, Bob Keane, all those guys came to your house.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably tore up the shit. So because they came to Wind Shift afterwards, I'm like, really, you guys?
oh, so they went out drinking after.
Yeah, they
after
sure
that.
did. They
Okay.
sure did.
It seems like we're seeing more and more of that, where restaurants and breweries are partnering up, and you're seeing some paired dinners and meals put together. I think it's a cool trend.
I think
because
it's
we used
smart.
to see it with wine all the time, and now we're starting to see it with beers a lot more often.
You know, what we hear now is, you know, a lot of these breweries, if they don't have food or a food truck, I mean, that's a turnoff for people because they want to be able to come and hang out and have some food. And, you know, I mean, Diametric, for instance,
Yeah.
you know, they do food trucks on the weekends, but not in the winter.
Right.
So they partnered with Hy-Vee, where Hy-Vee will deliver
No
from the
joke.
Market Grill.
When
which
did they
is
start doing that?
maybe about 3 months ago.
No joke.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
so you can at least get, you can DoorDash or bring your own food in there, but that's a little different level than, you know, getting Chipotle, right?
Right.
So kudos to you guys. That's going to be those they will coexist as well, because, you know, I don't want to just drink beer. I want to have some food as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of cool too, because, you know, despite being able to work together, we can both kind of do our own things as well. So it's technically two separate businesses under the same
Right.
roof. And so she's going to be open. I believe 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then at 7 p.m., the menu will actually switch to a bar menu. So it'll go to your more traditional pub fare of pretzels and sliders and, things like that. But and then for me, we'll open 11, 10 o'clock, depending on the day, and then run later into the night. So it's kind of cool because we can do our own thing, but at the same time, really work together and do some fun stuff with each other. So
we're out of beer, so we need to crack one of these.
I think it's time for our first mystery beer. So introduce Nolan to the bag.
This bag right here. Somebody came to my house and left it. He swears up and down it was stolen from a golf course.
That is seriously.
I mean, I got to imagine is with all the golf clubs.
Yeah,
and the turf on.
that is a cheap clubhouse bag.
Yeah,
I only brought 2 this time because I knew Nolan was bringing beer. So I'm going to bring out the big bottle first.
Yeah, you are.
Look at that. That is from it's half drunk, but it's fine.
I was gonna say that's not a new beer.
No, it's new to you, motherfucker.
Did you crack it before you came over here? Or?
I couldn't help myself a couple nights ago. So
were you standing outside with that thing in a brown paper bag, waiting for me to let you in?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, that's the only way to stay warm with how cold it is out here tonight.
So this is BKS, which is down off of 63rd Street. They do really good beers. This is pretty much their staple stout. It's called Holstein. I think this one is Ethiopian coffee and some other things. Yeah, it's actually a really good beer. So we're gonna have some of this because I actually thought about it when I bought it. I'm like, this should go on the show, but I couldn't help myself. I had to open it.
Well, there we go.
So it's still sealed. So, but these are their crowlers.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So this is how they serve them, and you buy this for $5 plus the beer, and you can bring it back, and they'll fill it up again.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's pretty fancy.
Yeah.
Well, while he pours, so. Are you planning on having, what's the percentage of what's going to be your beer and what are you bringing in from other craft brewers and microbrewers around? We've got a lot now that have just kind of almost shifted to where they're just doing their own beers.
Yeah, and that's the plan. It's going to be 100% transparent brewing company. I really appreciate what other breweries are doing and stuff, but really want to keep the focus on our products and kind of drive that home. To the point, we're not going to do any outside liquor either. So it will be strictly beer, no wine, no liquor, no nothing.
I dig it.
It's just strictly
I
beer.
actually dig that.
And I think a lot of people are excited about it. I've had, some people say, hey, I've got friends that don't drink beer, so do you think that you're going to lose customers because of that? The one friend in the group. And, to me, my thought is that if somebody openly says they don't like beer, it's because they haven't been introduced to it properly. Exactly. They haven't had a bartender take the time to guide them down the right path and, show them a beer that would be palatable to them or, figure out what their tastes are so that they can, find the right
I'm
beer.
with you. That's an opportunity to say, hey, you never have, this. Oh, I drink Bud Light. Well, try this. It's an opportunity to, open somebody up to something they've never had before. Or
I just don't want to be friends with you.
Or that. That's one way to do it. Your friend list is going to get cut pretty short.
Well,
quick.
sometimes that's what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
You got to find a way to weed through that list.
We got some people outside.
Yeah, we do.
It's weird. So take a whiff of that beer while you're at it.
They may not approve of this show.
The nose. Why, they Mormons? He's a recovering Mormon. Sorry to all the Mormons out there.
But just Mormon light. I was Independence. I was Independence brand.
So last episode we were talking about him being Mormon, and then you ever heard of Mormon underwear?
I have not.
Me neither. And then I Googled it, and it's a thing.
That's fantastic.
Is this a style of underwear specifically for Mormons?
Well, I don't know. It wasn't my brand of Mormons. So I don't know.
Different brands.
Yeah, the Utah brand are different than the Independence brand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a good beer.
That's a good beer.
It is.
Yeah, and that's only 6%. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's 6%. BKS they really don't do super high ABV. I think their highest one might be 7.5.
Nice.
Which I can appreciate because I can go in there and have 3 beers or whatever and be like, oh, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I like my big beers, but I generally just do it down here.
Right.
Just because I can walk. So
always a bonus.
Yeah. Walking or
look, we are two lucky individuals that we don't have to really. We rarely have to worry about driving.
I tell you that today though, that little 5-minute walk to work was rough, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
My goal in 2020 was to walk to work every day. Yeah,
Okay.
that didn't last through February. I drove today. I drove the 2 blocks.
Weather just ruining New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, it really is. So, what's your vision for like when you're open? What's the vibe you're looking for when you open this brewery? Because I'm the type of guy when I walk into a place, if the vibe is right, and obviously the people are right, the service is right, and of course the beer's right. That's there's certain places you go and you're just comfortable. As I was telling somebody today, I think the future of craft beer is neighborhood pubs, right?
Right.
People go there. You have regulars. Yeah, you have people who are new or whatever who are beer hunters, if you will. But what do you think your vision for what it's going to be like on the inside?
Yeah, so do you want aesthetics or just kind of the feel itself?
Just kind of whatever you can riff however you want.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about this because a big thing for me is education. I love teaching people, and I think it's one of the greatest ways for you to learn anything yourself is by communicating that to somebody else. So we're really going to push a educational environment. Anybody who comes into the brewery should learn something new about transparent, about beer or the beer industry. Anytime they come in, they should learn something new through intelligent conversation. So we're going to put a major emphasis on training the bartenders and educating them and making sure that they can speak intelligently about beer, and want to create that environment to where even if it's other customers that are around, you can chat and openly communicate about beer, whether you're just talking about one that you tried or getting into the depth of the different chemicals that create whatever flavors are in the beer itself. So really want to create that environment, but as well kind of a place to come relax. It's going to be super chill, come hang out. I completely agree with you. I think the industry is really moving towards that local, and it already has for the most part. I think becoming a regional brand at this point is going to be damn near impossible to do anymore. So you really got to focus on your local environment and appease those that are around you immediately. So
you hear that, Nick? Educational, just for you.
You hit me with that one. Why transparent? I'm curious about the brand. Let's hear that story.
Yeah. So I don't remember when it was, but it just kind of came to me one day. But it's kind of just a play on words. I want to be transparent and open with my customers. So, that's part of the education side of things. And, we're going to go so far as to even put homebrew conversion recipes on the website.
Oh, very cool.
That's awesome.
Go buy the grain, go buy the hops, the yeast, everything, and you can brew our beers at home. And I kind of view that as another opportunity for teaching people. So if somebody brews it, comes in and is like, hey, this is the issue that I had with it. How do I correct that? Then all of a sudden it's a conversation about, hey, so this is the issue in your process, this is how you fix that, this is how you get rid of that character. So we really want to just focus on being open and honest with everybody that comes through the door.
That's a great way, I think, to make the beer nerds have a really cool home. Because people that are doing it, they want to talk about all those things. And they want to share the stories of brewing. I think that's be great. I mean, and we all want a place to tell stories when we're at a bar, right?
Telling stories is part of being at the bar.
Isn't that part of drinking beer?
Being at the bar.
It's just telling your stories.
So Nolan, we debate this thing. All 2 episodes we've debated it.
For the entire
episode, we've debated, because the word craft, it came about. Who knows when this started being called craft beer. And I went back to the 80s when we drank Michelob with the foil on top. That was craft. If you count it now, it was craft. Go back in your mind, and what do you think your first craft beer was?
Anybody my age is going to say either Blue Moon or Shock Top. And that's hands down what it was.
And it's you look back now, you're like, well, those really craft
they weren't.
beers?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
They were owned by Coors at that point.
And I was a little offended when I found out it was a fucking Coors product.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, I've been duped, but I still liked it.
I didn't find that out until I went to Golden, Colorado, and did the tour of the Coors facility, and they were serving it at the end of the tour. And I looked around and I was like, you got to be shitting me. This is a Coors product? Well, I can't drink that anymore, so that goes out the window.
So did you feel a little betrayed?
A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I think we all did.
Yeah, that's kind of what transitioned me and started developing the palate that I have today for craft beer. Was Blue Moon. So
you think it's some of it is we all want to feel. We all want that kind of snobby. We're snobby about something, right? So does that play into it a little bit? That like
I'm a snob about a lot of things.
I want to. Well, I've looked in the mirrre. I'm not gonna act like I'm not either. But don't you think that's part of it too, though? Is why we say we felt a little betrayed that Shock Top wasn't small.
I mean, you could probably get with this, Nolan. It's like when when InBev buys up a smaller brewery, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look,
And-
there were a
and-
lot
and-
of people that were mad at Boulevard when they sold.
And well, I would. Well, at least they sold to somebody that was actually doing things that were not macro.
And Duvel is still technically a craft brewing
Yes.
company by the definition, which is under 6 million barrels
Right.
a year, which has slowly expanded
Yeah,
over the last
yeah.
30 years. But yeah, I mean,
But there was backlash in Kansas City.
yeah, there was, but I will tell you that was probably the best, person or company that they could
Absolutely.
have sold to, because Duvel has done worlds for Boulevard,
Yes.
and the quality's still there,
Yes.
the creativity's
Yes.
still there, and that's really what you end up seeing a lot of the times is the creativity just gets stifled, and,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
just it loses its soul.
Yeah.
you know?
Right,
That's kind of the way I feel about Goose Island. I'm not excited about
yeah.
anything Goose Island right now,
Yeah.
and haven't been for a long
Yeah.
time. So
And even Boulevard, I think it was a good thing because I go to the beer hall and that's one. I'll go down there just because I know they've got those test beers and they're doing things that they probably couldn't do.
oh yeah,
Because
No, I think they've been more creative.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, in that regard, because think about it, some of those test beers have become things that have gone to market.
absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So in that regard, if you can do whatever you want at the brewery, with money's not an object. I mean, that's perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why the people who work there, they take care of their employees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't take tips. I mean, they're doing it correctly. So, you can hate them all you want for being bought out, but
No, I was just saying. I think there was local
Yeah.
backlash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little
no,
bit.
and there's always going to be local backlash. I mean, you're going to have that, at least that one person that ruins it for everybody, right? So,
Right.
I mean, there's going to be that local backlash. But, the one that surprised me, did you see the Ballast Point?
Yeah.
Just got bought
Yeah.
for what? They got bought for $260 million when
Right.
they sold for $1 billion
Right,
or
right,
something
yeah.
like that.
Look, I
it's
ain't
crazy.
I ain't turning that down if I'm that guy.
No, I wouldn't either. But so, do you know the original sale that Ballast
Yeah,
Point
they-
did?
Uh-uh.
So, Ballast Point going from craft to a domestic, which they were bought by Boulevard, correct? Or am I wrong in that?
I don't think it was Boulevard.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
Well, they were originally bought out for $1 billion,
Right, by a bigger company, yeah.
by a bigger company, and recently another craft beer distributor
Bought
just
them back.
purchased them
Yeah.
back for $260 million.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
Pennies on the dollar there.
Right.
Yeah. So
Pennies on the dollar.
there's kind of some of that going on in the industry right now. It's a bit of a crapshoot as far as whether you're going to succeed doing that or not.
And really different parts of the country, it's weird because, like, as I've been talking about, I went to Pennsylvania last summer, and the beer, culture there is totally different.
Right.
It's all neighborhood breweries. They're, if there's a transparent, there you might have another location.
Right.
A lot of breweries do that, and they're
Right.
just as quaint and small, but they might have but that's a Pennsylvania thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania brews the most beer in the United States of all the states.
Really?
Yeah, their breweries. A lot of it is what's happened is all those mining towns, all that dried up. Breweries are popping up in these little towns.
No joke.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I was up there, I was like, this is a different culture than the middle of the country.
Right.
So depending on the part of the country, because I was talking to somebody earlier about, breweries closing, this, that, and the other. Yeah, I think as a whole, it's still growing because there's parts of the country that haven't experienced, craft beer. I mean, look at Dallas, for instance. There's a bunch in Dallas. 10 years ago, there were not. L.A., there weren't. Kansas City, 10 years ago, hell, 7 years ago. That was Boulevard, and maybe who's 7 years old? Martin City?
Yeah.
What sparked that though? Why in the last 7-10 years? Why are they just? I mean, seriously, they are exploding everywhere.
That's a good question. What do you think, Nolan?
I couldn't really tell you. I think it's partly, obviously we're usually one of the last people that hits the trends, right? So it's going to hit Colorado, California, something like that first. And, 10 years ago in Colorado, they still probably had 110 breweries
Right.
or something like that in Denver alone,
Right.
where now it's 200 something.
Which
So
is
I
odd to
think-
me because you would think that in the towns like that where they have major giant breweries, you wouldn't have all the pop up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you think it has to do with the liberal atmosphere out there, where it's a little easier to get things
Yeah,
like that
the
done,
creative
side of things?
Yeah, I think because think about it. Most of the, you call them nerds, but they're creatives.
Right. Look,
Right.
we all got a little something nerdy, right?
Creative nerds. I just think, craft beer is just, I mean, you're the perfect story. You at one point you were going to be an MD, and you're like, no, that's not really my vibe. My vibe is to be a creator.
Right.
Right. As 20 years ago, I'm guessing if you were super smart and pre-med biochemistry major, you went that route because that wasn't an option.
Right.
Whereas if you have an inkling of being creative, like I always talk about, the guys that I know that brew beer, I mean, that's a fucking art. I mean,
Absolutely.
because us three could do the same recipe and it could be a different thing based on what we do, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, timing of additions, what the water that you're using.
Right.
So your house to your house to my
Right.
house could completely change the way the beer tastes.
Or
and
we could
everything.
decide we're going to do the same beer. We're going to do our own version of it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So it's totally up to the artiste. To
And math. And math.
Math.
Look, it's going to come down to chemistry and math.
Well,
Which
no.
is like, I'm going to go back to like, I love to cook. I'm a good cook. I can't bake. I'm not going to make beer. You know why? There are rules.
you could, if you know your way around the kitchen, you can fucking brew a beer. It's not
That seems like a lot of math and chemistry. To
you know what brewing is. What
math
most
and
of it is?
chemistry.
Nolan, cleaning, right?
Yeah, it's sanitation. 100%.
It's cleaning.
Yeah. We any brewery you go to and you ask them what they do, they're just like, we're glorified janitors.
Yeah.
It's 80% of your job
Yeah.
is cleaning and just making sure that it's sanitized and whatever else. So as long as you can sanitize something and keep a sanitary environment, you can brew a beer.
The brew days I've been on, it's all cleaning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we might have drank some beers. We might have boiled some water.
I feel like I'm fairly clean.
Okay, well, you got to be extra clean on,
Oh,
on
okay.
beer, though.
Dang
I
it.
mean, yeah, if you
Does that
fuck,
mean-
you fuck up a. You
Does
get
that mean
some-
showering every day?
as long as you're not dipping your body parts in the fucking wort, you're good.
Right.
Ooh, wait a minute. That's a whole other show, man.
Yeah, it's another beer word for another time for you.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the fun part. He doesn't know these words. He's like, what the fuck is
No,
a
I know
session?
that word.
Session.
I'm just saying, the whole dipping body parts and things. That's a
We
whole.
had-
That's a whole other type of show.
We had his preacher's beer last week.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was
Yeah,
a
it was
red ale.
Preacher ale.
Yeah.
That's what I called it.
It was
anyway.
good.
Preacher ale.
It was good.
Yeah.
So moving on.
For lack of a segue.
So part of my passion is diversity in craft beer.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to ask you the question: What do you think Kansas City can do? Because we know it's pretty white right now.
Right.
And any thoughts on opening a brewery and making it a little more accessible? Because we go back and forth. And is it on the brewer or the brewery, or is it on people? I say it's on everybody. What are your thoughts on, getting a diverse crowd into transparent?
I think it's kind of on everybody. I mean, obviously the brewery could do some different things. I mean, you look at the events and the music and stuff that are coming into breweries, and for lack of a better word, I mean, it's basically just hipster stuff going on, right?
Right,
So it's a
right.
lot of classic rock, a lot of blues, folk music, people coming into play. I mean, I think that if you could open up that genre a little bit to different things,
Right.
then I think, yeah, you could definitely draw a more diverse crowd into it. And, for fear of stereotyping here, but I'm a huge hip hop head.
Right.
And I would love to do, Wu-Tang Wednesday or
Right,
something,
right, yeah.
and that'd be awesome. And I think that would honestly diversify the crowd
Right.
quite a bit.
Well,
So-
and you're in a good place to do some of these things. I mean,
absolutely.
especially compared to where Nigel and I are in Lee Summit. You're in Grandview, which
Yeah.
is a much bigger
More-
minority.
Oh, absolutely.
Way
City.
more diverse.
Yeah,
I mean, way more diverse. So I think, do you look at that? I mean, even from a business standpoint, that you feel like you need to do some things to bring that crowd in, or are you going to bring in the people from Lake Winnebago and?
I think it's going to be a combination of both, to be completely honest with you. I mean, Raymore, Peculiar, all of those communities are very, very close and don't really have anything,
Right.
in that area. So we're going to be servicing them quite a bit as well. But at the same time, I think the biggest thing is just, being open to anybody that comes into the place. And again, that educational side of stuff, because, introducing more people and different races to craft beer and really making it accessible to them, I think would be a huge thing too. Because I mean, how accessible is it really to everybody at this point in time?
Right. Our last episode we were talked a lot about female involvement, about that side of diversity.
Right.
You're building your restaurant right next to one of the biggest woman-owned businesses in the Midwest.
Yeah,
that's gotta mean something, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, as we're talking about diversity, I mean, look at that success story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've actually been working there for 2 years too. So she has been my boss for 2 years. And
don't cross Gail.
You're not kidding. Yeah, I mean, Gail, huge female influence in the Kansas City area, Midwest, to be completely honest. She's done a huge amount for the females and the females in the riding community as well. I mean, the Harley world, I'd say the Kansas City female riding community wouldn't be what it is if it isn't for Gail at this point in time. Yeah. So it's been pretty awesome to work for her and learn quite a bit and kind of develop the relationship with that place that I was, could be mutually beneficial for the both of us.
Have you gleaned some like business things from her that you can translate to, opening a business?
Yeah. So this I got this job in the meantime to opening this place, which we thought it was going to be, I don't know, 6 months once I started there, and here I am. The 1st of March will be 2 years working for Gail. But no, so I'd never done sales before, and so getting on the sales floor of a Harley shop was really interesting to me. And every day I run into situations or do training on or something that I'm constantly relating it back to the brewery and how I can utilize it in the future when we start distributing or using sales techniques and training for the bartenders. There's a lot of stuff that I've picked up doing this stuff, selling bikes that I'll absolutely translate back to the brewery itself. So
is that a goal of yours to distribute?
Yeah, eventually. Maybe a year or 2 years down the road, but it's definitely in the works.
Yeah. That's a big transition because distribution laws, they vary by state. I mean, even if you just look in Missouri, they're kind of weird laws. Wow, that's a big thing to want to tackle.
City Barrel's like doing it self-distributing.
Yeah. So we have self-distribution laws in Missouri.
Yeah.
And, it's a whole nother set of licenses that you have to get and stuff. But that's kind of the route that I plan on going is trying to self-distribute if I can because, cut the middleman out, keep the margins.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. What's your favorite style of beer?
I'd have to go stout.
What? Really?
That's the correct.
That is very surprising.
That's the correct answer.
Knowing you when you tout session beers,
and
you said stout.
Yeah, but I mean, stout is generally a higher ABV style, but I want to say BJCP's like.
Yeah,
5.5 to 7.5.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
the connotation of stout is big,
right? Well, and you look at recent years in the brewing industry. That's all that's been done is barrel age this, coffee this, and big 13. I've got a Boulevard's 30th anniversary ale that they just released. It's like 15.2% alcohol. It's like I can't drink that by myself.
No.
I got to hold on to this until I got 5 people over at the house so we can get through it. So
to your point, one of my favorite stouts is Young's Double Chocolate Stout.
Mm-hmm. That's a fantastic.
And it's 5.5%.
Yeah.
So I just you think stout, you think big beer, but but I'm with you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite style? I think we always ask that.
Wow.
Do you have one yet? We still.
I do love the Youngs. I like Boulevard's Dark Truth.
Mm-hmm.
That might actually be my favorite. I just picked up in the fall. They had a barrel aged stout. I'm trying to remember which one that was. I can't remember the name of it right now.
That gives us nothing.
I know, but the Boulevard's Dark Truth stout is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I do love the Young's Double Chocolate though. It's fantastic.
Hey, speaking of beer. Let's crack one of yours.
Yeah. Do you guys want to start light or you want to go dark?
Let's go dark.
All right.
The way he said that was just so.
I just want to make it uncomfortable. I mean, really, that's my goal.
All I'm thinking about is promos.
mean, if you really want to learn something, the proper way would be to start light and then go dark based on palate and the flavors and everything.
Look, if we're establishing one thing here, I don't want to be educated.
We're going to try our best. The miseducation of Nick.
Yeah, I think you need to rename the podcast.
No, we spent too long, all of like 10 minutes on that logo.
So I really did. What's the ABV on this one?
So this one is I've actually been doing a lot of adjustments to my brew house and my process and stuff lately. So this batch actually came out at 7.4, but when it's actually on tap at the brewery, this will be a 6.9%er, right at that threshold. And this will be one of the flagships, so it'll be on year round. Calling it Tippin Stout, which my parents have a dog named Tippin, so that's where
I was wondering if it was the old pie
name.
place, the old restaurant.
No,
Stole the name, really. Not trying to get sued.
no.
No, that's nice and roasty. I like that.
Yeah, I've always been a bigger fan of the roasty, a lot of coffee, chocolate character stouts. So definitely went to a more flavorful backbone on it, but it's still really light and it's dry,
drinkable.
And it's
got
not
a nice
overly
aftertaste
bitter either too.
Yeah, it's like a mild chocolate,
Right.
not a bitter chocolate. I love bitter chocolate, but that's the back end of that is super nice.
Yeah.
It just kind of lingers.
Yeah, it's mild, not mild. What's the word? Mellow? That's the word I'm looking for.
Mild is good too. I mean,
Mellow.
It's
a subtle thing. What is for the newbie, for the guy who doesn't know anything about brewing other than, I've watched a few friends do it, right? Mm-hmm. How do you regulate the alcohol content? Because you said this one was a little higher, but when you want to get it down for when you have it on tap at the restaurant or at the brewery. So how do you actually do that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of variables that go into this, right?
So I didn't ask a simple question, is what you're saying.
So the pH is going to have a effect on the.
I think I failed that test in high school.
There you go. The amount of grain that you put into it as well. So there's a lot of different variables, but essentially what it comes down to is calculating the alcohol. You have, we always say as brewers, we're not actually brewers. We just make yeast food. All we do is make sugar.
Right.
So you have an initial amount of sugar that you start with, and then through the fermentation process, the yeast eats those sugars, and then based on the ending amount of sugar, that's what your alcohol is. So the back end, that ending amount, you can control by the temperature going into the mash. That's going to determine the type of sugars that are actually created. And depending on the temperature that you go to, you're going to have a different level on the back end of it. So you can kind of control that sweetness with the temperature that you use, and then the amount of grains, the pH, all of that stuff is going to affect the amount that you extract on the front end of it. So that's the kind of the quick way of putting how you control the ABV.
You get all that? There's going to be a quiz.
Oh, shit. Damn it.
Yeah, and it's not multiple choice.
Damn it.
Essay.
Yeah,
No. Hey, look, essay, I'm fine.
You think so?
Essay's what saved me in college.
Imagine that, Nolan, him trying to regurgitate that shit in an essay. You've seen that?
No, but I can write enough that you'll forget that I didn't regurgitate.
You've seen Drunk History, haven't you?
I love Drunk History.
That's a great show.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what's even better, though?
What's that?
The Dollop.
What's that?
They're coming to Kansas City in April.
I don't think I know
really
that.
excited
Okay, so
about this.
I've heard about the Dollop. So what is the Dollop exactly?
So the Dollop is an American history podcast, and I describe it like this: if Drunk History were funny every episode, it would be the Dollop. So the Dollop, the shtick is that it's two comedians. Mm-hmm. One guy is going to read a story from American history, and it might be somebody, a famous person. It might be a famous story that you already know. It might be some weird, obscure thing. The shtick is the other guy, his partner, doesn't know what story's coming, and then they just riff off each other while he tells the story.
I can dig that.
That's
It's
awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's the Dollop.
I've never heard of that one.
You should.
I should check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to add that to my podcast list.
Do you listen to a lot of podcasts?
I try to. Recently it's kind of died off with how much I have going on, but I've got 3 or 4 beer podcasts that I kind of cycle through. And
What's your favorite beer podcast?
So honestly,
Beers with Nigel?
That was my test for him, actually.
Jesus, you were trying to give me every hint in the book too, and I didn't get any of them. Well, see, can it be my favorite podcast if one hasn't been released yet?
by the time they hear this, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
True.
So let me ask this. Let me ask this again. What's your favorite beer podcast?
Beers with Nigel.
There we go.
Come on.
oh my goodness, that's too funny.
Yeah, I can be kind of oblivious every once in a while.
So, who do you listen to?
My favorite, hands down, is the MBAA podcast. So, Master Brewers Association of the Americas. Always solid content.
Yeah, it sounds super
really,
technical.
really good. It is. Yeah, it's very technical. I'm a member of their association, and they do periodicals. So they have quarterly magazines with articles that breweries have put together, scientific articles covering different topics,
Right.
whatever. So they're definitely my favorite to listen to as far as informationally. The Stokecast is really good. I don't know if you guys have heard of that at all. They basically interview extreme sports athletes that have had issues, or outdoorsy people that have had issues, and kind of figure out how they coped with them, what they did to change that, and overcome any injuries or anything that they've had. One of my favorite ones was there's a snowboarding filmer who had a accident in an avalanche and broke his back, and had to come back from that and figure out how to get back to filming and back on the slopes and all that stuff. So it's pretty interesting. It's if you're looking for something to get you really excited to go do something, that's a good one to get out and get motivated to run around and everything. So,
I love a good interview show.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. That's my favorite. I want to listen to people, telling their stories, pull something. It's my favorite to do as well when I get to do shows.
You ever listen to Lore?
I have listened to that one. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that guy. He's got a creepy voice. He just tells these historical stories about different things. His voice is just captivating.
Yeah.
But there's the stories. I'm like, oh shit, who knew they? And these are all true stories. It's pretty. And apparently, it's a TV show as well.
Yeah, I can't remember which came first, but
The podcast came first.
Was it the podcast?
Yeah, that's one of the few I listen to. I also listen to Oprah's Masterclass, which it's an interview show. She interviews people.
I haven't done that one.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. The people talk about their experiences. It's just them talking into the microphone. It's pretty heavy.
Oh, so she's not doing the interviews.
Yeah, but it's her
because,
show.
I mean, as awesome as Oprah is, I think she's a horrible interviewer.
Why?
I just don't. She sucks up.
Who's a good interviewer to you? Wolf Blitzer?
Okay, so one of my favorite podcasts, it was only like 12 or 13 episodes. Jesse Thorne, who has a show called what is it? A Bullseye with Jesse Thorne. It's through NPR. But he did a short series, like 12 or 13 episodes, called The Turnaround, and he interviewed interviewers. So it was all it was all about, like, what do you do? So I mean, Ira Glass. No, I'm thinking who are all the big ones? No, I'm just lost.
You're done.
I'm done. Anyway, fantastic. That's
I'll be cutting this part out. But the funny part is I probably won't.
Of course not.
Because we talked about cutting out. We riffed at the end of the first episode. And I was listening to it. I said, I can't cut that out. That's fucking gold right there.
Well, some of your promo stuff was before we even started. It was just us, like, because I'm standing over in the corner, not even at the microphone, and we're just rapping.
That's always.
I mean, that's the fun part of doing this.
That's generally what gets your best content too, right? I mean,
There's a reason that I hit record before everybody's ready. That's the good stuff. I want you comfortable.
That's a really good beer, dude.
Good.
That checks all the boxes, and bosses as well.
So what are the boxes? So when you're judging a beer, what are you looking for?
For me, first of all, just overall flavor. Mm-hmm. Is it balanced? Does it taste good? Then, is there anything off about it? Like when you're done drinking it, like right now, I took that last swig. It's still on my tongue, and it's still pleasant. Yeah. There's nothing off-putting about it. The nose was nice. It's just it had a balance to it. You can tell it's a well-done beer. Not to say a beer that's not completely well done is going to be bad. It might have some elements that are not good, where you're like, man, there's something going on with that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can't pinpoint it because, like I tell him, either you like it or you don't, right? I'm not trying to be a beer technical snob, but I feel like I have a pretty good palate, and I can tell you if it's. I've never had a beer that I thought was shit. It may not have been my jam or not very well made, but unless it has some some really bad, fucked up shit in it, it's just not that good. It's not great, but it wasn't bad. Is it drinkable? There's a lot of things out there drinkable.
I've had one beer that I thought was not good.
Well, we know you don't like pickle beer, so there's that.
Well, I'm not like I haven't even tried that because pickles are evil. It's the food of the devil, right? If you believe in the devil, then the pickle would be his food of choice.
There's this brewery.
What do you have against cucumbers?
No, I love cucumber. Why would you ruin a perfectly good cucumber?
There's this.
Because it elevates it.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
No.
It
no.
elevates
Look,
it.
I like other things pickled. I don't like pickled cucumbers.
Nolan, there's this brewery in Fort Worth, and I found this pickle beer that am I a huge pickle fan? No, but this thing was done so well.
Really?
I mean, you couldn't but be like, how did they do that? It was just, and this same brewery did this. They did a plum fig sour.
Wow.
I'm not a big fan of sours, but that sounds awesome.
That thing was so ridiculous. And I ended up getting that one because I couldn't find a damn pickle beer in Dallas. And I brought that back up here and shared it. People were like, oh my God, what is that?
Right.
But I had that's how, you know how the beer game is. I met a guy on this Facebook page. Not that one.
This is that other beer.
Yeah, the other. Not Facebook dating. Here we go.
We do say it's a show about beer and other things.
Right. That is true. So he had those beers, but he lived in Denver. He said, well, I travel to Dallas, once a month. I can get you some. Shout out to him, even though he only sent me one fucking can. I'm like, who sends one can of one beer? And I'm asking, that's the only beer I want.
The guy who says I'm keeping the rest for myself?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess.
He must have tasted it while he was down there.
Yeah.
Screw this guy.
And then I don't know this dude. I'm keeping the rest for me.
And he was nice enough to send me some other things, but there were things I could have gotten here.
Right.
And I sent him all super hyper local. I sent him Grains and Taps, Diametric, Wind Shift, Crane, fucking BK Service. I sent him no joke. The hyper local shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, dude, you're not gonna be able to get that anywhere. So, I'm gonna have to work on his exchange rates.
Yeah. So have you kind of delved into that secret beer trading underworld that we have in the United States?
I have a buddy of mine in Oklahoma City that he and I, because Oklahoma City is the Wild Wild West right now, dude.
Right.
I mean, after they got their laws changed, they have beers down there. I'm like, well, how the hell you got that and you're Oklahoma? So he and I, we go back and forth, but that was the first time I've ever traded with a stranger.
Right.
And it was fine. I mean, the beers he sent me, I drank them or whatever, but I'm thinking you live in fucking Denver, you should be sending me some shit I can't, some Crooked Stave or something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, especially with the number of breweries out in Denver right now,
Yeah.
there's no way that you can't get a hold of something that we don't have out here. So,
but I was just looking for that one beer, and it wasn't even for me, so there's that.
Right.
So Stephanie, I know you're gonna be listening to this at some point. You're welcome.
I think that just reminds me that we're going to have the Beers with Nigel tour soon.
We're gonna take this on the road. I already had somebody ask me, could we do it there? Jason,
Absolutely.
Jason.
The answer is yes.
Jason at Long Bell. He's like, can we do one here? I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
For the right price.
For the right. Oh, that's right. We're looking for sponsors now. No,
I'm sorry. The producer side of me just comes out there. I'm like, for the right price. Everything is mobile for the right price.
Well, I mean, that's true. And we'll do some of that. I mean, why not? I mean, I wish we could do it because I'm going to this festival. Somebody had put out this list of their best festivals of 2019, and there was this one at Other Half Brewing called Pastry Town.
ooh,
And so, so I immediately looked it up.
That sounds good.
And this video, I was like, oh, I'm going to this. So they do this festival. It's in March, and it's all pastry stouts, pastries, and wrestling.
what?
Yes.
Did you say pasties and wrestling?
No, pastries.
Oh,
fool.
pastries.
It's a different beer festival.
So, like wrestling, are we talking like Olympic style, or are we talking WWE?
WWE shit.
Okay.
Indoors where the
fantastic.
pastries might get smacked around a little bit too. Yeah, it's
awesome.
I'll have to show you
Are
the
the
video.
wrestlers named after pastries?
I don't know. It's my
I mean, that's a good question.
I feel like they have to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be a part of the entry. Like, you can't be accepted unless
Yeah,
you have a
you
pastry.
gotta-
name.
I mean, like
Pastry day.
I'm waiting for Jellyfield Phil to take the stage.
Coming to the stage. Put your hands together for jelly filled. bloody hell.
Do you have a favorite jelly filled?
I don't like donuts.
You don't like donuts?
No.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
I don't like.
This is on par with him not liking pickles.
Okay, hold on. I don't like jelly filled donuts. Now you give me.
You just said donuts, though. You said I don't like donuts.
I like Quick Trip donuts. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, okay. So Krispy Kremes is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, but I don't gravitate to donuts. I'm not one of those guys that said, "Hey, let's go get a dozen donuts." Maybe when I was 14.
Right.
Well, look, when you're 14,
Dunkin' Donuts was the shit back then.
You eat anything that's put in front of you.
That's true.
I probably would have eaten pickles if you put them in front of me at 14. I mean, come on.
Boy, I tell you, the pickle board's gonna be after you.
Okay, so you.
No, look, I will. If you brought it in, I will drink it.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
Like, I will try anything.
Okay.
Now, okay, so you like Quick Trip donuts.
Right.
What about Lamar's?
Lamar's are fine.
Just fine?
Lamar's greater than Krispy Kreme.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't. The times I have donuts, it might be 1 a.m. I make a Quick Trip, and they just got delivered and they're warm.
Yeah.
Or
I thought I knew you, man. What happened?
So that gets me to back to the one beer that I didn't like that I've had. It was a bacon donut flavored beer.
Ooh.
Somebody brought from Lawrence. I don't know if it was from one of the Lawrence breweries or not, but a friend who lived in Lawrence brought it, and it was during the everybody was adding bacon to everything, right? Back in the 2007 to 10 range, right? It was just not good. It was not good at all.
I've heard of a few attempts at that and gotten mixed reviews on it. So,
but I'll try anything.
To me, I don't even know how you would do that. Obviously, you can't add the bacon grease because that's going to completely ruin the head retention and everything in the beer
and kill you.
And kill you. I mean, nothing like a good
Bacon
clogged
grease
artery
does
while
not
you're
kill
drinking
you.
a beer. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd have to do some research to figure out how you'd even get the bacon flavor in.
It's got to be an extract, right?
It could be. It could be putting a bunch in a bag and putting it inside your boil kettle. I don't know. I'd have to look.
I'd like to back up on my donut hate.
Okay.
He wants a do-over.
I just thought of one. Hertz Donuts.
Down in Springfield.
Well, when Eddie and those guys at Fringe did an event, I think it was Black Friday, and they had that maple bacon Long John.
Yeah, that's
now
fantastic.
that shit right there.
That's amazing.
Now that was the shit.
Even though it is way too sweet, it's still amazing.
But it went great with the stout.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maple and bacon? Are you kidding me?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, and his coffee stout is really good.
His Madam X.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a good job of that.
That's one of my favorites here in the area.
Speaking of stouts, let's go back to the golf bag for the last beer.
Oh, okay. Let me finish this.
Even though we're going to drink Nolan's beer as well.
How about Nolan talk while I finish and you pour?
Oh, okay. Dance Monkey Dance, right?
There we go.
I didn't bring my tap shoes with me today, so.
So check this out. Erebus.
Okay.
So I haven't had it. It's hold on, let me get the readers out. I knew these would come in handy. Get them out.
There we go. I'm glad we have cameras for this part.
That's what I'm saying. Scotch Barrel Aged Imperial Stout with coffee, 13%. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
The brewery is made in Texas by Texans.
Is it Martin House? Look at the top of it.
Is that what that says?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the people who do the pickle beer.
Okay.
Martin House.
Wow. Is this what was sent to you?
No, this is one of the things I brought back when I went down there. So this is a new packaging thing they do down there, which is pretty fucking cool.
Okay.
Let me while he's pouring. I'm gonna throw.
Oh, you got
throw you a question.
You got to see this package.
Oh,
Look,
all right.
watch this. Watch this. You think it's a bottle? It's 2 fucking cans.
What?
You see what I'm saying?
That's cool.
Awesome.
Isn't that cool?
That is fantastic.
I was like, oh, that's badass. When I bought it, I swore it was a bottle.
Right.
Didn't even think about it. So that's a lot. They do this a lot. A lot of breweries do this in
They're
Texas.
dropping some cash on that packaging, by the way.
Yeah. No joke.
Yeah, somebody is.
And my marketing head is like, wow, they are not skimping on that budget.
So what did that cost? Was that $15, $16?
No, I think it was probably $12.
$12?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, I think it was $12.
Look, I was gonna say $17.99.
Yeah.
If we were playing Prices Right with this, I would have gone $17.99.
And you would have been over and disqualified.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that's why I've never been on the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there a beer that like you want to get to, you want to make, but you haven't? You don't feel like you're there yet? Is there like I want to make this beer someday?
Yeah. I mean, I've always got ideas going on. I think one of the styles that I struggle with the most is amber ales, which they're just difficult because you have to balance the malt notes with the hop notes, and for whatever reason with that color of malt, I have just not been able to figure out the right way to balance those and the right combination of hops. So I have an amber ale that I think I've brewed 6 times and I'm still not happy with. It's one of those that I don't even think I've brewed it in 2 years, just because I got so frustrated with trying to figure it out and getting it right that I dropped it, left it. And I'd like to come back to it at some point and try again. Yeah, it really is. It's the one beer that I'm just sitting there going, what in the hell is going on? Why can't I figure this out right now? So it's one that I'll have
Is this your white whale of
pretty
beers?
Much. Yeah, at this point it really is. This amber ale really is.
The nose on this is really nice.
Yeah.
As the room goes quiet.
All right, I'm going to get the camera on him as he drinks there. There we go. See his reaction.
That's good. You get that booze though.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
really good.
That's fantastic.
That's you said that was 13%?
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty smooth.
Yeah,
for
it
13,
is, yeah.
though. There's a lot of vanilla underneath
Yeah.
it as well.
Of yours.
It's funny you're waving him to the mic, but we're on camera, so
Well, I'm not on camera as well. I guess, yeah.
Just a wide shot.
You're
Right.
wide shot.
first time we did the show, not 30 seconds into it, he fucking whacks the shit out of the mic. I'm like, I'm a goddamn professional. What are you doing?
I'm the bro telling him what to do in my studio, and I'm just like, whack.
Right.
I do like, because I like scotch. I like booze. I do like the end.
Wait
where
a minute.
kinda-
Wait. You like booze?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Like actually, booze. Now you like scotch and bourbon and things. I do. I
There are
don't
not
drink
many.
it a lot,
There are not many booze I don't like.
but I like the end of this. It has that. It still hangs on. Like you get that barrel aged or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
Well, you were just talking about
Well,
that finish that sits on your tongue.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think that's the Scotch barrel that you're
Yeah,
getting right
yeah,
there.
the
It's
Scotch, yeah.
Because that makes me think of Scotch. I'm not a big Scotch fan myself. I prefer bourbon. It's a little smoother.
I would
for
agree
me.
with you.
But that the Scotch kind of has that lingering alcohol kind of character to it. So
What is the favorite style that you do? You said we talked about your white whale, but
Right.
what do you do that you love that you think you're nailing it?
yeah, I've got a dry hopped wheat that I'm pretty proud of. We use let's see, I got to think of the hops because it's been a while since I've brewed it. Sriracha Ace and man, I can't remember the other hops, but there's a pretty heavy addition of Sriracha Ace, and it's just like lemongrass. I mean, that's the nose that you get on it, the flavor that you get out of it, and then with the nice chewy proteins underneath it and everything, it's such a refreshing summer beer. Which it's surprising that I'd say with the proteins that it's refreshing. It really, really is. There's
I like
It
a
sounds like
lot of
it sounds like a
lemongrass
picnic
in it.
beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like a hoppy
100%
wheat.
summer
Yeah.
summer picnic beer. I mean, it's really nice. It's one of my favorites that I do. Probably the other our flagship pale ale too, Lucent Galaxies. It's a mosaic and again, this is one I haven't brewed in a little bit. Galaxy. I think it's mosaic and Galaxy dry hop. That's just out of this world. I mean, it's pineapple orange, everything in your face, but without doing the hazy side. So it is a clear traditional pale ale. But those are probably the two that I'm most happy with out of everything I've produced.
How many taps you gonna have when you open?
So we're going to start with 8, 4 of which will be flagships on year round, and then the other 4 will be rotating. We'll have room to expand to, I could go to 16. I think when you kind of get to that point, though, it gets a little convoluted. So probably 12 to 14 is where I'll stop. And I've also thought about doing maybe a couple of taps for just like a sensory sample. So, have a base pale recipe that you put together and then put one hop and then another hop on 2 different batches. That way those hop characters are kind of thrown at you. Or do a base pale recipe and then do one with like C60 in it, and then that way you can have that C60 thrown in your face. That way you know what that caramel character is. And this is kind of playing into the education side of things that I wanted to do. And this is probably a year or 2 down the future, but I would really like to do something like that. So with the purchase of a beer, you get a sample of each one, like a 2-ounce sample, come in, and just kind of learn something while you're there. So
Processing, you said you're maybe late spring, summer opening, right? So how long does it take to brew? So when are you going to have to be working on these flagships to get them ready so that everything's set when you open?
Yeah, it'll take me about a month and a half to get enough product on that will be set and ready.
Because how big of a system?
It's a 5-barrel system.
Okay.
So not the biggest one. I wanted to start with a 15, but we kind of had to scale the project back.
Right. That's still good though, 5-barrel.
Yeah, it is. We're going to start with four 5-barrel fermenters and then one bright tank. So, it'll take about 2.5 to 3 weeks to cycle through all 4 of those and get beers finished and kegged and all that stuff. So we're looking about a month and a half to start. If we open May, that'll put me beginning of April.
Yeah.
That I'll really get in there and start going, and that's all pending weather and getting licensing done, and there's a lot of red tape to get through still. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can hold this timeline or not.
I know Tony at Windshift. He's got that 1-barrel system.
Yeah,
he's 7 months in. He's like, I wish I had a bigger system.
Is he always working? I mean,
he's brewing 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to.
And he working at the mechanic shop next door as well?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And, and I think his success is a little surprising.
Yeah.
But he was a great home brewer. I mean, a great home brewer. Mm-hmm. For a guy who had 7 taps at his house all the time.
Right.
You got some skills. So I think going back to the neighborhood bar, tap room thing.
There was nobody in his area.
Well, there was East 40 downtown Blue Springs. But where he is, I-70 in Woods Chapel, you wouldn't think anybody would go there, right? Well, there's 2 neighborhoods on either side. It's their neighborhood brewery. It's the weirdest thing. And it's small. I mean, you can get, 40 people in there?
I don't know. I haven't even been out to visit yet.
Yeah, you should come out there, dude.
Yeah,
I bartend there Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay, cool. I'll be out there Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
One of those
Not
days.
tomorrow, no, because I'm bartending someplace else. I'm trying to, spread my wealth.
Right. Everybody needs a little bit of Nigel.
Is that your version of never mind. Never mind. I'm not going there.
you pretty much quoted my man at Long Bell. He's like, everybody needs a little bit of Nigel. I'm like, so I go over there today. I don't make cocktails. So they've got a dinner event. He's like, we're short staffed. Would you bartend? I'm like, well, yeah. I'll, all their cocktails or the instructions on the wall. I'm like, I can fucking follow instructions.
Right.
And I can at least humor the people at the bar. If I can't do anything else.
I'll tell a story.
Yeah. I'll be like, this is going to take a while. Would you order? You sure you don't want just a beer?
Because that's easy.
Right. Exactly. So
Friday night, our beer sales spiked and our
yeah,
cocktail
exactly
sales went down. What happened there?
You talked about the guy at Windshift that he's also working as a mechanic.
Tony,
you're working at Gales, right? The guys at Diametric all have other. I mean, is that what you have to do, kind of, to get this? I mean, look, going from home brewer to commercial brewer is a big step. I mean, do you have to have that second job to make it work?
Yes and no. I think it depends on your situation. I'm a single guy, no kids. I got a dog at home, and that's all I have to take care of. So for me, it's going to be a little bit more viable than somebody who has a family that they have to support and take care of. So, none of us are in this industry for the money. It's definitely not for the money. It's a labor of love. You have to absolutely be passionate about craft beer in order to be in this industry. So, yes, you could probably get away with it, but it really just depends on your personal situation. So,
you can totally believe that because he's not the first person to say that exact answer.
I've never said that.
It's a labor of love.
I've never said that. I was like, they're not in it for the money.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I mean,
but then again,
most
artists are, because they're artists, or they don't do it for the money. They do it for the craft. I mean,
I think you can say they do it for both. I think you can say you do.
I mean,
it
you
for both.
you
Look,
want you
we
want
all
money.
want to make money.
You want money, but that drive to create is what you want to do. I mean, that's the reason I fucking worked in San Angelo, Texas. Market 193 because I wanted to be a reporter.
Right.
It wasn't. I was making $6.75 an hour as a reporter on the air on television.
Look, we don't want to talk about what our salaries were as young reporters.
Touche. But I mean, the fact that I got a job down there, that was huge. I was like, oh shit, I made it. I'm a reporter, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I can only imagine people ask me, oh, what do you want to be in? You want to own a brewery? I'm like, no, but I want to be in the in the business somehow. But it's got to be, at least for the people that I know who are opening things, I'm super proud of those people. You know, when Diametric started distributing, I thought that was a proud moment for me. I don't have a stake in the brewery.
Right.
But to go to some place and see my homeboys brew on somebody's tap, you know, when it happens for you, I'm going to be fucking, yeah, these are my motherfuckers right here. Because to me, these are my homeboys. You know what I'm saying? There's not many people who can say that have almost 10 friends that have opened breweries. But I do. I've got a lot of people who have, for some unknown reason, I'm friends with brewers.
Right. Well, I think that statement stands true for somebody that isn't a part of the brewing industry. So it works within the brewing industry yourself. The fact that you have 10 friends, I mean, that says something about yourself.
The fact that Nigel has 10 friends.
10 friends that have open breweries. Let me rephrase that.
Don't be jealous.
You know, it's one of two things. One, you either don't shut the hell up, or two, you've done something kind of cool in the industry, and you know, you've really kind of got. Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. But I had something I was going to say. I can't remember.
Well, I think that goes back to when you first pulled me aside and like let's do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Was you talked about how there is a community, and you talked about how the trend is to the neighborhood bar.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. That's why you feel pride in it. Yeah, that's your community. It's your friends.
And,
I mean, just like you and I live here in downtown Lee Summit. We feel pride every time one of these new places opens. Every time they have a great event.
But you know,
pride.
the beautiful thing about the beer community is I've been in different countries and got love because I know people in the beer community.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to London, and it's not just brewers, it's people who drink beer, support beer, who go to festivals, this, that, and the other. I was told by a guy on Beer Tasting KC when I was in London, hey, you need to go to this tap room, ask for this person, and tell him I sent you. And I don't know this guy.
Wow.
I know him from Facebook. So I end up going to the Rake in London. They're having a beer release. There's Melissa Cole. Her name is Melissa Cole. She's the biggest beer writer in England. She and another brewery collaborated for a beer, and they were releasing it at this bar. So he said, go ask for Melissa. Roll up in there. Where's Melissa? I don't know who Melissa is. Rolled up in there, and it was all love. They bought all my beers. I put Fringe and Grains and Staff stickers in the bar. You know, it was that's beer like brings people together. That's why I'm so passionate about we can diversify this shit, right? Because a lot of people just don't know. And to your point, it's by education.
Yeah.
We got to show people, hey, this is in your backyard. We had the conversation last episode where Boulevard, Alma Mater, Rochester are all like Southwest Boulevard area. That's a diverse neighborhood. Been all in breweries. Who's the only brother in there? Me.
Right.
That ain't right. And again, it's not just on the brewery that I mean, think about it. You have a job. You're about to open a brewery. You don't have time to really be doing outreach, right? So I think it takes the community to make that shit happen. You know, doing things to where, you know, people understand that this is in their hood and it's okay to show up. You know, like Alma Mater is right in a Hispanic neighborhood. And so I'm talking to the guy that owns it. I should have used that.
You're supposed to do that in the microphone.
No.
But I don't think we told Nolan actually that burping is encouraged.
This is the burp.
And if it hits you, you lean into the mic.
Okay, I've been looking away. I'll change.
Yeah,
my
we
tactic
got
a little
Alana
bit.
to burp last week. It was pretty fun.
Fantastic. I mean, I don't know why, but anytime you can get the girl to burp, it's a good thing.
It's a token.
You
can take home with you.
Like there's a patch on the jean jacket for that one.
There you go.
So Nick Mater, I'm talking to him, and we had this whole conversation. He's like, "Yeah, we got a few Hispanic people to come here because it's in their neighborhood." And I have this conversation with everybody that I know in the beer community. How do we reach out to these people, right? How do we make it a little more diverse? I mean, that just makes it better for everybody. It makes it better for your bottom line. You know, it makes it better for everybody's bottom line, and it's a local business that seems like it's welcoming for everybody. And you know, I get on the soapbox every time. It's not that the beer industry doesn't want that. We haven't figured out how to do it, right?
Well, I think that's what it is, and that's diversity in everything we talk about, right? Whether you're talking about beer, whether you're talking about education systems, whether you're talking politics, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. I think the question is, what do we do? How do we not only open the door, but how do we get people to the door?
But you're already in that neighborhood, right? You're already in that neighborhood. Go to Ponax. It's pretty diverse. It's going to be diverse, right? You go to Boulevard, it's not diverse.
Isn't Ponax still mostly white people that are eating there?
No, because it's actual Mexican food.
No,
so
it is, but go in there.
it's more diverse than the breweries.
You go in there, it's a lot of people that look like me.
Okay. I mean, to your point, sure. But my point is that's still somebody's hood. You know, I don't know how we do it, but we're going to fucking do it. How about that?
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of agree with you. I think it takes a community to move into and really occupy those breweries. But, what could be done on the brewing side? I mean, could you do a beer that speaks to the heritage of that community?
Right.
There's got to be ideas like that are be thrown around as well, which, Stone has Zocoveza,
right,
which is their Mexican hot chocolate inspired stout,
right.
which, whether that was brewed directly at a local community around Stone, I don't know, but something along those lines could most definitely be done in order to kind of include that community and then do a marketing campaign directed at that community around that beer. So I think it kind of goes both ways.
Absolutely.
What can the brewery do? What can the community do?
Absolutely.
Work together.
Yeah. I think you're right. It takes everybody working together. But I want a question for you. You look different than I do.
I'm taller.
Yeah,
and I'm British.
And you're British. Not the other. We're not going to know about the other thing, right?
Right.
We don't talk about it, right?
That's a different show.
I do a local podcast here.
You do like 12.
I do a lot, but I do a local podcast here in Lee Summit.
Right.
And I have been in community newspapers my whole professional career.
Right.
I always feel a little weird, a little guilty during February because it's Black History Month.
Okay.
I feel like if I go do Black History stories or go talk to the few black people around that I know, right?
Okay.
I always feel like, isn't that just a token thing? Am I actually doing any good? So I asked that question because you talked about, and I thought of this earlier, but you brought it up, is should a local brewery do a Hispanic style beer? So I feel like that's disingenuous a little bit. Like I'm doing it just to get you in, and I'm just curious.
I'll tell you this.
I admit I have a lot of liberal white guilt, as my friend used to call it.
I'll tell you this because this is the thing. This is the thing because in some of the groups that I'm in on Facebook, they might be like one group I'm in. It's all brothers who like craft beer, right?
Right.
And when something happens in the craft beer community. Like I saw somebody just put out this beer today called it's kind of like an ode to Master P, and this white dude had a grill in. And so there's a thing that the black community doesn't like when there's cultural appropriation for profit. To extend your brand. And that's a touchy one. So
yeah. So how do I, as the privileged white guy?
But if you're doing a Black History story, that's different. If you're taking like there was somebody just did something in Oklahoma where they did some skits. I see their point. They were trying to, personify a particular song, but everybody was Indian and nobody was Indian, so they were all painted, and it that doesn't. Wow. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
So I feel like this has to be part of it too. Is I think everybody's kind of uncomfortable getting into this and talking about this. Obviously,
I like the uncomfortable part. Like I'll lean into that.
See, and
but I want it to be genuine. That's the thing I go about is how do you let people know it's genuine?
Right, and that's kind of thing. I know I personally get uncomfortable, and I don't lean into that quite as much as other people will. So, I mean, is there a way to open that conversation without any preconceived notions and really make it to where we're able to be honest with each other and ask the questions that need to be asked, because I think there is a lot of people scared to get into that
subject.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nolan, I think what the deal is, and we've talked about this in the first episode. I came up a different way. I lived in England until I was 12, so I have a totally different perspective, being black in this country than people who grew up here. And the conversation was, I don't know if you heard about that thing that happened at that Rochester that Alana put together, that it was I Am Craft Beer.
I did hear about it.
And so the panel, I was on the panel. We had 125 people show up. It was great, and, my thing was, I'm comfortable going in any situation as a black person, but not every black person is comfortable going into a brewery that's all white, And so the question is how there's a bunch of sides. It's like a fucking British fucking coin that has sides, like corners. There's the education side, but there's also the side to how do we get people to understand it's a safe place to come in here. You know what I'm saying? Some people, everything is on a personal level, right? All politics is local. Is that right?
There you go. Yeah.
I'm not going to attribute it to John Bedoin this time, okay?
Look, that is not a Bedoin.
You've already railed on this in the last episode. Simmer down, son. But it's everybody's different, And so for me, I have to be like, okay, I have to accept that, not accept, but understand that if you're black and I'm black and we walk into the same place, you may not be as comfortable as me because I have a different upbringing. I have a weird fucking upbringing, which I'm glad I do, because I don't walk into a place and be like, it's all white people, I'm leaving. I don't do that. Some people may do that. You know what I'm saying?
But you have also said, and you've said it on this show, that when you see another black person, you're going to go to them.
Oh, I'm going to acknowledge a black person in the brewery. Absolutely.
You go in. You still feel like you need to go in and make that connection.
Because I want, if I can make him feel welcome, that's what I'm going to fucking do, because it's a fucking anomaly to see a black person in the brewery in this town.
Well, that was going to be my question to you. Is that more for yourself or for the other person that you seem to make that connection?
I think it's probably most for the other person, because I'm comfortable in my own skin in any situation. But I will acknowledge, because it's an unusual thing, and we keep going back to this festival I went to last year, Fresh Fest, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And you're going back?
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell, I've already got my tickets, son. Are you kidding me? Best beer festival I've ever been to.
Really?
Second year that it's two comedians, another podcast you could check out, The Drinking Partners. Two comedians in Pittsburgh. They know enough about beer to be dangerous, but they have great guests. They started a beer festival 2 years ago. 1,500 people showed up. Last year, 3,000.
Wow.
3,000. Navi Roots headlined it.
No joke.
Navi Roots have a beer. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
They partnered with a brewery in Atlanta, because Atlanta's like a hotbed right now for black breweries. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Atlanta's Chocolate City, kind of like DC. DC is as well. So what they did, it's not just a beer festival. They did symposiums on Friday. They did a symposium on diversity in craft beer. Then they did a symposium on, so you want to open a brewery, here's guys who have opened it. Then they did a VIP brunch on Saturday. They did the festival. Then they did a brewer's brunch on Sunday. It was a 3-day event. Then there was a bottle share. There was a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
It was the most. But to walk into the symposium and see 99% of the people at the symposium being black beer people in all facets of beer, I was fucking blown away, because you don't see that here. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I need to bring some of that vibe back to Kansas City, because it can be done. And you had Brewer, there's about 50 minority, women, LGBT, Hispanic, whatever, breweries across the United States. There's about 50. 30 of them were there. Because it's that kind of event that I was like, dude, I had goosebumps. I was fucking shocked.
Now, do you think Atlanta seems to be a prime spot for that, just because of the history and the roots of the black culture in that area? Do you think maybe we're missing that in Kansas City? Or
I think that there's a lot of black business in Atlanta and DC because of the concentration of black people. Kansas City is fairly it's 30% black.
Right.
Well, and there's a rich history.
Yeah.
Too. Now, there's also a rich history of oppression. I mean,
that's
we can talk about J.C. Nichols and him moving some people around.
That's every fucking city.
That's true.
But
that's true.
I lived in Atlanta when I was younger, and that was a place. If you wanted to be a black entrepreneur or open a business, that's where you went. Mm-hmm. D.C. being the same way, New York, L.A. to an extent now, because there's some black-owned breweries in L.A.
Right.
So it's different parts of the country have their own history, but I think craft beer for black people is relatively new.
Yeah.
It's a new concept, but it's growing, and I think it's squeezing on what the norm has been in the beer community, where it's been white guys, and as not everybody's racist, everybody's got bias. Mm-hmm. Everybody has bias. I have fucking bias. Everybody has bias. And some people, when they're encountered with something they're not used to, their bias comes out. It's just the way it is. I mean, shit happens.
Yeah.
So in any industry or any walk of life, there was resistance when black people got rights. So now we're coming into the beer community, and, we're like, we like beer too. 10 years from now, it's going to be a little more cultural. That's the way it works in this world. You know what I'm saying? It's gotten better. There's still going to be some haters out there. There's always fuckers who hate, right?
Well, yeah. But
so,
do you think some of that is because of access? It takes money even to be a home brewer, right? Like,
it don't take that much money.
But I mean, really, doesn't it all comes down to economics and the link between race and economics. Not gonna,
I've got
right?
My recipe for Young's Double Chocolate Stout. My knockoff recipe, $25 recipe.
Right, and here's what I will say: your startup costs are going to be your biggest investment in the home brewing side of things, and that's going to depend on what level you get into it.
Exactly.
I mean, you can get a basic brew set for extract brewing for $100, $125, and then your first recipe for $35-$40.
Right.
So I mean, you can brew your first beer for $150, and then you're averaging anywhere from $25 to $50 after that, which is pretty much on par from where you'd be buying cases of craft beer or
just
regular beer. Yeah,
I mean, you could technically brew on your stove.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need all that shit. You could be right. Just get you a big. Let's say he's raises.
That's what I've been doing since I moved back to Kansas City.
I mean,
in my kitchen.
Yeah, I've got friends. They put the carboy in the bathtub in the extra bathtub, and it fucking sits in there and ferments. And
well, I just wonder what you think is that barrier. Why there is still a divide.
Nolan said it earlier, and it makes fucking sense. Is the middle of this country is late adopters.
Yeah.
We're late adopters. That's why you can go to the East Coast and you can see black breweries. You can go to the West Coast and see black breweries. You can go to fucking Dallas and see black breweries, black owned. And some of them are unheard of, but they're neighborhood, but they're there. We're like the last bastion, I found out there was a fucking black brewery in Oklahoma City. Vanessa House. Had no idea.
That shocks me.
That's awesome.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
But then, but again, to your point, this little Rust Belt or Bible Belt, Oklahoma hasn't really gotten heavy into the beer scene except for the last 3 years when they changed those fucking arcane laws,
right,
where you couldn't have a fucking tap room and you couldn't get, beer over 3.2 in a store, and you had to go to the liquor store, but you could only buy it hot.
Right.
So
Utah's is still the same way right now.
Utah is the last 3.2 state.
Yep.
But then again, Utah, the liquor stores are state run. So if you work for a liquor store, you work for the state, man.
Exactly.
Getting that retirement. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're going super long, aren't we?
We're a minute 34. Hour 34. Sorry.
Okay. I'll cut that part out. Me saying how far we're going. But I get on my.
Whatever. We don't cut anything out in this show.
I get on.
We don't edit.
I appreciate it, and we talked about I brought up the being uncomfortable broaching the subject,
Right.
and so you bring up the economic status. I mean, that was going to be one of my questions. Do you think it has to do with the price of craft beer?
No.
Being the accessibility side
No.
of it. I mean,
Look, economics and race in our country, they're tied, always tied.
right?
But I think people, if they like it, they're going to buy it. I'm not a Cavassier fan.
right,
I'm not a Hennessy fan. Motherfuckers is buying that shit.
right. Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, fair
It,
enough.
it's for me. It's about being exposed to it. I've been a beer guy. I'm older than both of you guys. Am I older than you?
You're older than me.
Yeah. I mean,
I say that proudly.
motherfucker.
I am not the oldest guy in the room.
You look older than me, so there's
Well, that's
that.
true. I got a lot of great. Hey, thank you to our artist friend who did the art for our logo. They took a lot of that gray out.
You've been to Fringe, and they have the magnets
Yeah.
of the faces.
Yeah.
So our logo is magnets of those. Oh,
awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Benji, and I think he's in Chicago.
So does this mean I'm getting a magnet?
Do you want a magnet? I just had him did a face. We can get you a magnet.
I'd love to have a magnet.
That's gonna be extra.
Okay, that's all right.
No,
We'll work.
he's badass. So
No, that is awesome. When you said that to me, I was like, "Holy crap!"
yeah, and he turned that around pretty quick. So anyway, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, do you remember where I was going?
I don't remember
Yeah.
now.
Anyway,
I made it about me again.
Oh, we were talking about the price of craft beer. Is that the
yeah,
what is the price of
I
selling?
don't think that's an impediment. I think it's knowledge of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just one of those guys that I've drank beer and I've gravitated to good beer. Okay, good beer.
But again, though, we're
Hill.
talking about entry, though. We're talking about entry in,
Yeah.
which is always the topic when we're talking about diversity and equity and race, right? Is that entry point? Is how do you get the entry point for everyone?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm just thinking about.
And I have trouble thinking that it's always going to come back.
I'm just thinking about the brothers I hung out with. It's like when I lived in Kansas City the first time back in the '90s. My buddy worked for Duran Cherry, that his distributorship. I forget what it's called. And he would get,
It's still going.
Yeah, but the beers he would get, he'd get all the dented cans and shit.
Right.
I wasn't trying to really drink no OE and shit like that, but it was free.
Again, that's where we're talking. We're talking about the entry.
But the accounts he serviced in the hood, there was no Boulevard there.
Right.
Even though Boulevard was out, and we pretty much we would probably drink those beers when we got really drunk, right?
Right.
But fast forward 10 years later, we'd spend a lot of time at Ugly Joe's. You ever been to Ugly Joe's?
I have not. No.
You should. That's an experience. You should go.
Okay.
They got some good taps on there, but we'd go there for Sundays and watch football, or whatever. I got one buddy. All he ever drinks is fucking Michelob Ultra. I'm like, that's not even beer.
Yeah.
My other buddy, when he comes to town from Florida, who used to work for Duran Cherry.
Back to the bad St. Louis beer.
Yeah. He comes to town and they want to go to Twin Peaks and drink Bud Light. No. First of all, those mugs shouldn't be that cold. Just gonna say that right there.
Yeah,
I don't need a frozen
man.
mug.
Stop giving me the ice chip mugs.
Right.
That is just the biggest no-no in craft beer.
Yeah.
And so many places do it. And shaker pints too.
Yeah.
Shaker pints
Yeah.
drive me nuts. Yeah. But yeah, if you hand me a frosted mug, I will turn it. I will turn it down and hand it back to you.
I admit there are times I like if I am at a crappy like in dive bar. I don't know. There's something about a bad draft beer in an ice cold mug.
Well,
like you pour me a Schlitz in an ice cold
Exactly.
mug, I am happy.
Yes, if
Hams.
it's domestic, a hams, a
Yeah.
PBR. If you're drinking that kind of beer, ice cold mug all day
Yeah.
because it masks the flavors.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Because you know what I'm thinking of are the ice cold with the chips of ice on it fishbowl of PBR.
That's
And that's
literally-
nostalgia.
It cools the beer down so much that you're not getting all of the flavors to your receptors, and that's why craft beer is served 38 degrees
Right.
to the stouts even get up into the 45 50 degree range. It's because it gets those aromatics out, it gets all the flavors out. And so if you drank nobody would, if you drank a Bud Light at 50 degrees, you'd spit it out and dump it. This is the worst thing I've ever had.
Can I tell you something? You give me a Bud Light at almost any temperature, I'm probably going to spit it. Look, I mean, I'm going to be honest.
Fair enough.
But we've admitted my bias, right?
You hate St. Louis. He does.
That's
I
fine.
don't hate all of St. Louis.
Yeah. We
Most
need
of it.
we need to take you to St. Louis, Illinois.
I like the Illinois side.
I do too. I've been to some ratchet clubs up in there, man. I feel like I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
You know, the type of club where you get a drink and you can't drink the whole thing. It's so strong.
I can't wait for my
And-
St. Louis
and-
friends to hear this podcast.
And the DJ has like a table and it gets bumped all the time. He's
Record
still playing records. That's the thing.
he don't mind.
Right. East St. Louis? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've done all the damage we can do. You think?
I think so. We're pushing 2 hours.
You know what? And, it's fine. Somebody will listen to this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
I gotta. Do you want to kick the last one out?
Yeah,
we
why
have one
not?
more
Okay,
beer.
yeah.
Oh, shit!
Yeah,
I better
one
finish
more.
this one. Oh, here we go.
It's fine.
I'm gonna switch the camera and let him open it.
So this one's a little tricky to pour. So good luck with it.
Well, with that glass. That's why I gave you that one.
Woo!
Look at that. Good job.
Woo!
Which one is this?
All right. So this is the 4C Session IPA. This guy.
There's that word again.
Yeah, session. So technically, I guess I can't really call this one a session because it's not below 4%. And again, I've been fiddling with it. So I think this batch was like 4.8. But it will in the brewery be like right around 4.2, shooting for that low 4 percentage. Dry hopped with Cascade, Columbus, Centennial, and Chinook. So that's where the 4Cs comes from.
Okay, got you.
But really, really good pine character, a little bit of citrus on it, a little bit of floral notes to it as
Yeah,
well.
the nose is
yeah,
lovely.
I've played with the balance quite a bit with the 4 hops that I use, and it's turned out pretty well. I've been really happy with this.
Let me ask you this, because I'm weird like this. On a brew day, when you smell that wort, when I smell a wort I'm like, that's going to be a good fucking beer.
Yeah.
You just know.
You can tell. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's when I'm at Tony's, I'm like, this is going to be a good beer. I can already tell.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my, this goes back to my favorite style being stout, but as soon as you mash a stout in, it's just, I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
All right, I need to, like the only brew day I've been at is Fringe.
I told you we're gonna.
I need to do a brew day.
Maybe Nolan will indulge us as well.
Hey, why don't we set up at the brewery and you guys can just podcast a live brew day?
Absolutely. But I want him to do some work though.
for the right price.
I want him to do some work.
We need to invest in some
for the-
headsets
for the
with
right price.
microphones so we can walk around. How about free beer for the day?
Well, look, he already knows my monetary values.
You're a whore.
This is well established.
No, I think it would be cool for him to, because I know he's did some. The large scale brew day is different than the 5-gallon thing.
Yes and no. I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time.
There's definitely more cleaning at the end.
Yes,
'Cause they're bigger vessels.
So, but it depends on the size that you go to. I mean, if you've got, this 5-barrel system that I'm doing, it actually should be about the same amount of time for a general brew day. But part of that's just because I have the rotary spray balls in place. So I'll just turn a pump on and let that run while I'm finishing something up with the brew. And then the next vessel will go while the wort's over here. And so, you can start cleaning while you're still brewing.
Tony
Okay,
doesn't have that.
Yeah, so in a 1-barrel, you're leaning down into that mash tun.
That
and
boil was so
scrubbing the
long, I was
walls
like, bloody hell.
Yeah. And
Look, when he
again,
talks, I feel better because when you talk, I feel like it's going to end up in some version of Strange Brew, where like I'm Rick Moranis down in the freaking thing.
we can make that happen.
Yeah.
I'll put you inside of it if I need to.
Phrasing. No, I just think it would be, I think it would be fun for you because literally I've been on 100 brew days.
Yeah.
And I've brewed twice. And the 2 times I brewed was with Tony. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're going to brew today. I'm like, you realize you want me to brew 50 gallons? Yes. I know you have a recipe. Well, yeah, of course I've got recipes. And so that first brewed, I had this idea for a tropical stout. And I'm like, mango, allspice. He's like, let's put some ginger in there, and he's like, you're gonna do all the shit. So he's made me do that a couple of times.
See, that sounds fun.
It was, and that beer, it was weird because I've got a buddy of mine who I've got a lot of friends on social media, and so this guy, he has a brand called Culture with a K, and he wrote this book called this is not the beer you're used to, and it's basically a beer style book, but it's also his story how he got into craft beer as a brother, right? And he's talking about these styles, and I had never heard of tropical stout, had never heard of it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Well, it's a Caribbean thing where it's a fruited stout. It's lighter. It's not heavy. It's a summer stout, basically. Because, there's snobs out there. You can't drink stouts in the summer. You're wrong. I'm just going to say that.
You can drink any beer any time of the year. It's just a matter of whether it's brewed properly or not.
And so Tony was like, well, let's do it. And then we did. It was a hit. And then we did like a double mango. But we put double mango in one of them. And it was just... People are like, when are you going to do that again? I'm like, when Tony's not busy brewing. And
it sounds like he's always busy brewing.
Yeah.
Well, I was say, the reason he wanted you to brew is because he just needed a break. He's like, I'm worn out. Nigel, you're doing it.
You're welcome, Tony. and then the next one, he's like, I've got this recipe for an Irish stout. You need to do it. All right, let's fucking do an Irish stout. So that was, so the next one we're going to do is that Young's Double Chocolate Stout clone.
Do you have any recipes that aren't stouts?
Probably not.
Another good stout, the Samuel Smith Oatmeal Stout.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Smith is good.
Yeah.
And as well, Four Hands Milk Stout.
Yeah.
And
that is a good one.
Have you had their Absence of Light?
I have not.
Oh, you need to find that. It's out right now. Go get it. It's a peanut butter chocolate stout.
Yeah. You've never had that, son?
By the way, you just had me.
Yeah. It's a Reese's peanut butter cup in a glass. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It really is.
I like it too when the when some of the tap rooms do the mashups of like we're gonna do half of this and that's kind of Grains and Taps does that sometimes. It's a lot of fun.
Like they put two beers together or what?
Yeah,
in one glass.
Yeah,
it's called a cuvee. We talked about
you always got to one up me, don't you?
No. Shout out to the drinking partners because they're the ones that started it. Because their podcast, they were like, "Oh, it's the end of the podcast. Let's dump all the beers together. It's cuvee."
So in college, we called that Jungle Juice. You just dump everything in.
There's a lot of different names for it.
I like cuvee because it's fancy.
Well, yeah.
I'm fancy.
You are fancy.
I mean,
if anything, Nigel, you're fancy.
Yes.
All you have to do to be fancy is put your pinky up while you're taking a drink.
So all right,
it really doesn't.
Here we go. Oh, he's already done.
I'm through.
Damn, Nolan.
All right, Nigel. Here. How you doing? Pinky up.
I mean, there's more in there. Is that?
Yeah. Well, you guys also gave me the smallest glass, so.
No, technically, it's just taller.
We already talked about this. We're going to accept tall people.
Yeah.
I gotta believe that's less ounces than what you have.
We'll get the tape.
We'll get there.
So Nolan, where can people find you? Like on social media, if they want to find out about Transparent, where do they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Facebook and Instagram running, Transparent Brewing Company. I believe they're both at Transparent Brewing. So at this point, we're really just updating on the construction process, what we got going on. So keep, if you're not following us, please hop on, follow, like us, and keep updated with what's going on. And then as well, at the Chive Simply Good on both Facebook and Instagram as well. There's a lot of pictures of food that she's posted, pictures from the tastings that you were talking about. And we're going to keep everybody updated. And I can't wait to get people in. We talk about this being a passion versus trying to make money, and that's the ultimate goal. I just want to share the stuff that I've created and my passion with other people. So I can't wait to get people in and start serving them. So we're really excited.
You need to get on the Twitter though.
Yeah, and I've it's on the plan. It's on the books. But
all you got to do is get on there. Just create an account.
Yeah.
And I'll just retweet all the shit.
You want to run it?
I will.
Okay.
That's dude. My Twitter game right now is fucking on fire.
Is it?
I admit, look, as a fellow small business owner, right? Yeah. Like all that social media can get pretty daunting. Like
I get it.
You start adding those channels up
because you have to understand.
It's hard work.
IG, I'm about to go like millennial. IG, I've been on there forever, but then once the shit started rolling, I'm like, I should probably start because a lot of people are on there. But my beer Twitter, it's out of control.
Yeah,
I just,
you're fire.
100,
Dude, I'll be glad to run it.
140 characters. I get nervous.
No, they don't do 140
that's done.
anymore.
That's
That's
done.
anymore.
That's how long you haven't been on there, son.
Jeez. I got to read up on Twitter.
You got 162.
Oh, okay. So you get an extra 22. You know that those 22 characters can make all the difference in the world.
I've never gotten to the limit. Mine is short and concise.
Oh, I all the time.
Yeah.
I have, but I like to write a lot.
But the funny thing is, because you weren't that active on Twitter, and I keep adding him, and he's like, "Yeah, I gotta say some shit now."
But so here's the problem: is my personal Twitter account I'm rarely active on, and I'm not very good at even my local business's Twitter account. I'm trying to be better at it, but because it gets so much, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep up with everything. But so I had all but let the personal Twitter account die.
You got to get the
and
Hoot-
then Nigel starts.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right,
You gotta get the
Nigel.
Hootsuite. The Hootsuite. Isn't that the thing? Hootsuite.
Yeah, it costs money, and
That's why we're
Look,
gonna get sponsors.
I'm
this
cheap. There's things we're gonna learn about each other, Nigel. One, I am a cheap bastard.
So this is the podcast to him. I get to come and drink for free.
Wait a minute, you figured that out?
3 episodes in.
Nigel, get your friends together, have a
Bring some
beer. We'll be good, man.
Damn it! I thought I was being really coy.
No, I mean that's an honorable stick.
I can't hold it against you.
Yeah.
I'd do the same thing.
Like Nigel. Well, this idea actually came at a beer panel. I moderated a beer panel for Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Yeah, that was
and
fun.
so we were drinking, which it was a weird panel to moderate because it was a bunch of nerds and 2 of them could talk.
Eddie from Fringe. Eddie can definitely talk.
Eddie wasn't on it. It was Mark. It was Lumpy.
Oh, because Eddie sat in the back. You're right. It
Eddie
was Mark.
And I love Mark. I love
Yeah.
Mark. Mark's great, fantastic. But anyway, so we were talking in the back afterward, and I was like, Nigel, you really ought to do a show sometime. He's like, I got an idea. So then we met for drinks.
Is that when that happened?
We met for drinks later, and Nigel's like, let's get this thing done.
At 9 a.m.
And about 4 bourbons later, I was in.
So you know where the W is over there, right?
Yeah, I know the W.
So they open up that hand in glove.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's a fabulous.
Is that where it started? Or is that where the night ended?
That was the first. That
It
was
was
the
about
first meeting.
4 boozy coffees later.
That was the first meeting at 9 a.m. on a Sunday.
Nice.
and I think I went home about 12 or 1.
Yeah, it was fine. It's
We
fine.
were
Look at
good.
us.
We
Look at
were
us
good.
now.
My wife was happy.
Phrasing.
See, we don't edit this show.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So you think this will be the longest episode? Are we 2 hours in yet?
We're an hour 52.
Yeah. I mean, I would listen to this shit. I'm just saying.
I would.
We've had a good conversation. I think we've had a good conversation.
Yeah.
No,
Well-
and I really enjoy, and I appreciate that you're bringing the diversity part of it in.
I mean-
that's a passionate topic for me, and honestly, with my self-proclaimed liberal white guilt, I don't know how to get there to those topics sometimes. So I appreciate you letting me.
No,
get there.
I'm just looking for ideas, fucking solutions. I'll fucking go hand in hand with anybody. That sounded weird.
Not at all. Not at all.
That's the kind of love we need, right?
Look, let's bring back the '80s and Up with People.
Right.
Right.
Up with people, bloody hell.
What was that? The '84 Olympics.
Yeah. No, if somebody wants to do some shit to foster that shit, I'm down with it. Like, do you know how it all started? The I Am Craft Beer thing.
This is a great story.
No, I actually haven't heard that.
So, this girl, Shalonda White, she's known on the interwebs as Afro Beer Chick.
Oh, is this was it Deschutes or
No, that was something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I want her on this show.
Yeah, so
Bad.
she basically is a beer ambassador. She lives in Chicago.
Okay.
I met her in Pittsburgh. Amazing person. Somebody got on her Twitter and just tried to belittle her. Black people don't know anything about beer. Black women especially don't know nothing. Get the fuck off. So just went fucking left.
Wow.
And so, Dr. J. So the Brewers Association has a diversity coordinator. And I met her in Pittsburgh.
Which, by the way, at our age, when you say Dr. J, I am not
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
I am not thinking of the chief diversity officer.
Let me get
for
her. Let me get her actual name. How
for the
about
Brewers
that?
Association.
Let's
I'm
shout
thinking
her
basketball.
Let's see.
This is good audio, by the way, while you're looking stuff up on your phone.
Yeah, as Nolan needs.
I'm going to switch over and watch Nolan pour there. Look at that. Look at that. Raise it up a little bit so we can get that on the camera. There we go. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good stuff. And now we're back on the camera of Nigel looking on his phone. This is fantastic audio. We're good at this podcasting
Just
stuff.
solid content right here.
Yeah.
I'm a professional
We
producer.
could go to some ASMR if you'd like.
So, Dr. J. Jackson Beckham. She's a communication and cultural studies PhD, and she's the executive director and diversity ambassador for the Brewers Association.
Okay.
So we were all friends on Twitter before because of Fresh Fest. That's that beer festival in Pittsburgh, and then this shit happened, and then everybody ganged up on this dude on Twitter, right? And then the hashtag I am craft beer happened. And then Dr. J was like, everybody post pictures of yourself with a beer and use the hashtag craft beer. It fucking went worldwide.
Wow.
There was a Facebook page. There's a website. It just turned into a thing where we were like, no, there's no hate in craft beer. Anybody, we don't care what your fucking background is. You can have fucking two heads. You probably like craft beer. And so it turned into this thing. And so Afro Beer Chick did like a meetup in Chicago and said, hey, all the supporters of I Am Craft Beer, just show up. And everybody showed up at this fucking brewery and took this group photo, and it was the greatest fucking thing ever, right?
Wow.
But you can actually search it on Twitter. The amount of people that posted pictures of themselves and the hashtag I Am Craft Beer, it was probably 10,000 people.
Wow.
And so Alana wanted to do an event here. And so she hit me up. She's like, you want to be on the panel? I'm like, fuck yeah. And so she talked to Rochester down on Southwest Boulevard because they've got an event space at the brewery. And so we did a panel there, and we talked about diversity. And so it was one of those things. And so Sunday, April 2nd, Afro Beer Check's doing one in St. Louis. So we might have to go over there. So
I think that's a road trip.
yeah, but
Nigel road trip.
But I know Alana's doing another one, and it's going to be an event, but it's going to be a women's event. You know, because she's concerned about women in craft beer. I think Kansas City has a great representation for women. I mean, I go to other cities and they say, yeah, there's not women here; it's all dudes. So every place is different, but yeah, that's what that came from, and it's become a cool ass movement. Just kind of letting people know, no, you can't be fucking a fucking dick or a douche or be a slave to your bias at a brewery. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're going back to community. You're going back to that whole thing you started talking about where the local tap rooms, the local breweries, it's a community. It's a community feeling.
Yep.
Look, and a community is not going to stand for the douche.
Right.
Well, I feel like this is embodiment of the craft beer community in general because, I mean, the whole craft beer push started as a craft beer versus the big guys.
Yes.
You know, and that's what it was.
Yes.
And all the craft breweries banded together and
Right.
worked together because it's craft beer against the macro brands. And I feel like the whole movement that, you know, and I Am Craft Beer, that just embodies what craft beer
Yeah.
is because you can, you know, it's one of the coolest industries because, you know, in my brewery, I could be having an issue with something going on and I could just call up somebody and say, hey, I'm having this problem. What have you done? And they'd be more than happy to answer
Absolutely.
that question. It's not like, no, that's proprietary. I
Right.
can't tell you what's happening there and how to fix that. So it's got to be one of the most supportive industries that I've ever been a part of. And it's really phenomenal to see. It's such a cool industry to be a part of just because of the support that everybody gives.
I mean, at one point at Windshift, Tony got sick and wasn't there, left, and we were out of cans. And you know how many fucking breweries brought us cans?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
When Fringe runs out, when Grains and Taps runs out, when Diametric runs out, I've had somebody call me, and they're like, "We're out of this particular yeast. They have it at the Grains and Taps store. Can you bring it to us when you're on your way to work?" Hell yeah. That's what that community does. It's fucking. I'm not going to talk about the hate. because there's some hate.
There's always hate.
We're gonna talk about that off air. Because but for the most part, everybody is supporting everybody. It's not. There was a post by God, what's his name? From Crane.
Chris Myers?
Yeah. He posted this thing on Facebook about competition. He was like, it's not about competition in the craft beer community. It's about fucking love. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're not Quick Trip. You know what I'm saying? There's not the same shit at every store. Do you have a favorite Quick Trip you go to? Do you?
No, they're all the same.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You might have a favorite brewery, but if you like,
but if you
craft,
have a favorite brewery, you want to check out every other brewery.
But if
when you travel.
But if you like the craft, you're going to be like, I want to see what everybody else is doing. It's not that I'm hating on I live next door to a fucking brewery, right?
Right.
And they're fucking killing it. Sure, I could spend all my time there, but no, there's so many other things to experience, right?
Right. Well, and we have some friends, right? You brought up our friend John.
Right.
He's awesome about every time he travels.
Goes to breweries.
He comes back with beer from other breweries.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got his favorite, but because he has a favorite, he's going to try every other one that he goes to.
I mean, it's like visiting a different country or a different state. There's different shit. Mm-hmm. I want to see what's cracking. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I mean, even amongst just the breweries here, you may have a favorite brewery, but that's the brewery you're at 2 nights a week.
Right.
And then on the weekend, you're like,
right.
hey, let's go check this place out.
Right.
Let's go check this place out. I mean, that's even the consumers within the craft beer community. That's what's cool about it is it's an event. You spend an afternoon hitting.
Yeah.
There's 3 right next to each other, so let's hit those 3 today, this weekend, and then next weekend these 5 are close to each other. Let's go to those. I mean, it's such a interesting culture just surrounding the beer industry in general, craft beer industry.
Yeah,
in general.
and if something new opens up, absolutely, I'm going to go see you.
100%.
I don't think I'm trying to think. Is there a brewery in Kansas City that I have not been to? I don't think so. Maybe one.
We're gonna have to make a spreadsheet.
And see that comment that you just made. If you're opening up, I'm going to come see you. That is why I'm scared shitless.
Why?
I am so scared that we're going to run out of beer in the first week.
Oh, you will.
Just because everybody
will.
shows up and then.
But isn't that a good problem?
As long as it doesn't become consistent, yes, it's a great problem.
And to be honest with you, I think whether it be grains or wind shift or diametric or fringe or East 40 or service or any number of these smaller breweries, that's a thing. Mm-hmm. That's a thing. And think about diametric. They've got a pretty good sized system.
Right.
And they still struggle because nobody thought that location would work. Oh, it's over there, blah, blah, blah. If the shit's good, they will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the perfect example of if you build the right thing, people will come. Because that is a crappy location,
too.
right?
I don't think you're going to have a problem. I don't think you'll have a problem at all.
No, are you kidding?
People showing up?
Yeah.
No, this location's fantastic.
I am so scared that I'm going to be undersized. It is a real issue.
Bro, it's too late. Diametric is out of space.
Yeah, I'm completely aware. I'm kind of putting contingency plans on ordering 10-barrel tanks shortly. But
the good thing about it is if your product is good up front, when you come with something that people wanted and you haven't had it in a minute, they don't care. They're going to keep showing. That's Tony's thing right now. And we talked about this. My judgment of a brewery is how are your beers top to bottom? Mm-hmm. Are they consistently good? Because there's some breweries, they've got some stars, they've got some dogs.
Right.
Tony is one of those guys where it might even not be my style. And I'm like, that's a well-made beer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, as you know, it's coming back around, session beers, a lager and a pils. If you can do one of those, come on, man. Then I know you're fucking legitimate.
Yeah, there's no masking issues in this.
No, you can't hide behind
I can't remember the last time I had a good lager.
Really?
Pilsner. at a microbrew.
Well, part of that's because they're very hard to brew. They're so light that any imperfection just it's in your face. Yeah.
Huh. I mean, shout out to one of my favorite beers in the city is Cerveza Royale from
Stockyards.
Yeah. That's a
beer.
great beer.
Yeah.
Tony does at Windshift does a great hobby lager that's really nice.
Okay.
I think Juan Moore over at Diametric is killer.
That is a good one.
It's just a session beer. I thought Grains and Taps when they did their what's it called, Regal Amber. It's words backwards. It was just it's Bry Fry.
Yeah.
Just solid as shit.
Oh yeah, Bry Fry is a solid beer.
You know what I'm saying? So those cats who are doing just the basic style. Alma Mater does a German Pils right now. I was like, and I love KC beer. Once I understood what they were, I think
good beer.
They do German style to a T.
Oh yeah.
Alma Mater did a German Pils. I was like, oh my God, that's just as good as theirs.
He was talking about the size that he's afraid he wasn't big. But I mean, look at some of the small ones. Look at places like Fringe. That's not a big.
And I keep telling
that's
Fringe,
not big space at all. But I love that place. I love what they've created.
Right.
I like that atmosphere of going in and sitting at those big tables.
Yeah.
And that works for me. That's a style that I like, and they seem to be killing it.
They had Blake, Blake down at Fringe.
Yeah.
He finally got to brew a beer, and he did a Pils.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Really.
I didn't know he did
for
one.
him, man.
I'm like,
That's
you
awesome.
guys should have that. What was it called? They got those weird carnival names and shit. Cheap Thrills Pills.
I need to go.
With a monkey on a motorcycle. It was they do great logos, right?
Yeah.
I said, dude, you guys should have this all the time.
All the time, yeah.
So, but it was a cool deal because, again, talking about the beer community, Mark and Blake came and talked to Tony at Windshift because Tony did this Pils that everybody shit their pants about.
Right.
And they commiserated and talked about it and went back and did this beer, and I'm like, this should be a staple. You guys are killing me right now. Mm-hmm. So every time I go down, I'm like, when's this going to happen? Blake's like, it's going to happen. So anyway,
there we go,
dude. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a good time. You've actually this will be the longest episode thus far by far.
Let's you guys can go and just cut it short. Like, I mean, a minute before what our length is. Just stop recording from here on out. We'll just we'll hold the record, right?
There we go.
Yeah. He'll never stop recording. So
I have a production style. It's never not record.
Yeah. So hey, we appreciate it, man. Best of luck on the new business.
Thank you.
We're gonna make sure. We scare the shit out of you and get a bunch of people there.
Please do.
We will be there, right?
Yeah,
we're going to be there opening day.
You know what? We should. Let's plan on that. Us come opening day and just fucking do some live shit and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We can set something up.
Yeah. Why not? I'm down.
Yeah.
We're there. Are you free?
Sure. Let's do it
for an unknown date, about 2 to 2.5 months from now.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the nice things about working for yourself is you can say those things. You can be like, yeah, sure, I'll be there.
There you go.
So for my buddy Nick Parker, good job. We got that.
You too, bud.
3 episodes.
3 down.
Three. The longest one ever.
Look, they might hate us. We'll see.
No. Nah. People are gonna. I would listen to this shit.
Look, everybody loves Nigel.
Hey, this is.
I'm just hitching to your wagon.
That sounds creepy.
It's a weird wagon.
It's a weird wagon. Bloody hell.
I like weird. And I tried to. One of my goals is to get you to say bloody hell at least 5 times every episode.
I can't help it, man.
I think that was 5, right?
It might have been.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to. Actually,
under.
I think we're gonna make that a contest. People have to count every time.
No, they have to drink every time I say bloody hell.
Oh, there we go. Drinking game.
Yeah,
our first beers with Nigel drinking game.
You're gonna just turn it into How I Met Your Mother and just bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell.
I would never do that. No, that bloody hell is it. You can't just shoot off. No, you can't do that. That's rude.
All right. I feel like this needs to be the next episode. We're going to talk about bloody hell.
We are. You know what we're getting for the next episode?
No.
You know Scott Kranz.
Yeah.
That guy right there.
Yeah.
That brother, he has 1,000 check-ins on No, 10,000 check-ins on Untapped.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
8,000 unique.
I do not have Untapped.
You were supposed to. That was on my notes. You were supposed to get Untapped. Why have you not gotten Untapped?
I told you I'm not comfortable with public record of my drinking.
No, Untapped. It's not. You're not putting it on Facebook, fool.
It's strictly an app for the beer community amongst the beer community.
You get to pick your friends.
So the only people that'll see how much you've drank are people at the same level of drinking, if not more than you. So you're all right. Don't worry about it.
And see, I post mine to Twitter just because my Twitter beer game.
See,
that's
what I'm like.
I don't post my shit to Facebook.
I don't know if I don't want public record.
But you don't have to do it. You could just be within the app, and we're gonna. Because I want to, when you get a beer, I want you to give us some, some liner notes.
Here's what I think is a KC area brewery.
Okay.
They need to lobby for us to come out, and that's where I will download the app and I will start.
That's the easy button.
So they need to bribe us. I am always about bribes.
No joke. What kind of corrupt stuff have you done in your life?
He's been covering politics way too long.
I want to know how you paid for college.
Well, I can tell you how I got through college.
Right.
That's a fun story.
There you go.
On that note, hey, thank you guys for listening to Beers with Nigel and Nick, even though Nick is like...
I don't warrant a hashtag. I think that's on our logo, actually, is that I don't warrant a hashtag.
Because that's the name of the show. It's hashtag.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brad Bain from Grains and Taps for releasing.
Like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. Did you ever see the shirt?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah. Some people still have them. Every once in a while, I'll see a motherfucker. They'll be like, "Look at my shirt." I'm like, "Wow, that's a limited edition."
You know what? If somebody wears that shirt and sees us, it ought to be a prize.
Open hand smack to the face. What?
Yeah.
I was going to say crisp high five, but that works too.
I was going to say Transparent Brewery will get them a beer.
Well, you can't get beer there right now.
Well, that's true.
So,
Nolan, thank you very much. This was awesome.
I had a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, you guys, thanks for listening. We'll listen to you or hear you.
We'll talk to you.
All those things. How many beers have we had?
Have another beer. Look, I did not pregame for this one, so I'm okay.
I thought you did.
God, that's not really pregame.
Why are you whispering now? Oh my God! The Beers with Nigel After Dark.
That's a whole other show. We're actually on HBO for that.
Nolan's like, what did I get myself into?
We're going to transition into the Love Line Hour. Give us your call.
We're taking requests. Oh, it is almost Valentine's Day. We didn't even talk about that.
Tomorrow.
Which I think is the worst holiday. Is it a holiday?
Yeah,
is it considered a holiday?
Yes, it's a national holiday.
It is, but these will be released after.
But still, if you celebrated it, good for you. I think it's the worst man-made bullshit ever. Yeah. So on that note,
honey, I love you.
You're married.
20 years and counting, man.
Yep. You married rich, remember?
I did.
Keep it classy.
I did. You got to marry those teachers, man. That's where the money's at.
Hot for teacher. Hashtag hot for teacher.
I love me some Van Halen.
Hey, we'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bloody hell. 2.5 hours later.
You have been listening to Beers with Nigel, a show about beer and other stuff, hosted by Nigel Woodbury and that other guy, Nick Parker. Beers with Nigel is a proud member of the Fredcast Network, and it's available on your favorite podcast apps. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Beers with Nigel.